Chapter 3085. Human. The Bug Clan commander hid deep within the scorching basin. His aura was completely concealed. Even if the first marshal stepped into this basin, he might not be able to find the Bug Clan commander, even if he dug 3 feet into the ground. However, Lin Feng could sense it. Lin Feng knew this, and the Bug Clan commander had guessed it too. To be safe, he destroyed his Great Yin insect blackboard to create the illusion that he was rebuilding. He allowed the Yao Tuo race to search for energy ripples and pointed all suspicions at the super blackboard. As for himself, he hid in the scorching place that the Bug Clan hated the most. As long as there were no energy ripples and no exposure of the initial Great Yin insect blackboard, no one would be able to find him. The Bug Clan commander could wait patiently for the Bug Clan to break through the defense line of Miluo Tua territory and cause chaos in the Taichu. When that time came, he would appear and enjoy the fruits of victory. It would be perfect. The only thing he was worried about was this human who had ruined his plans multiple times. He would first kill the Great Yin insects one by one, then find his initial Great Yin insect blackboard. Even though the Bug Clan commander beat him at his own game, he was still afraid of Lin Feng. During the final battle in Miluo Tua territory, he was injured by Lin Feng's self-destruction. However, it was different this time. Although this human had found his hiding place again, it seemed like he was alone. The Bug Clan commander didn't sense any other cultivator's aura. One-on-one. Long, the basin shook violently. The Bug Clan commander immediately broke out of the ground. If he continued to hide, he would be in a passive position in the battle. Now was a great opportunity to kill this damned human one-on-one. The Bug Clan commander didn't think that this human was stronger than him. That day, the self-destruction only injured him slightly. In a head-on battle, without the second marshal's interference, the Bug Clan commander was confident that he could win against Lin Feng. Kill him and get rid of all future troubles. That day, because the second marshal was there and the Bug Clan commander wasn't interested in killing, he didn't reveal his full strength. Now, there was no need to hide anymore. Although he hadn't absorbed any energy for dozens of eras and his strength hadn't improved, when he unleashed his strength was comparable to a pinnacle universe dominator. He could even fight against an ultimate universe dominator. Even the first marshal and Bug Clan commander weren't weak. Chi. The insectoid commander brought out endless flames from underground, and its scales seemed to be on fire. These flames, which were 100 million times hotter than stars, could not harm the insectoid commander at all. Similarly, they could not harm Lin Feng at all. However, the insectoid commander's close-range combat ability was no joke. The 12 saber arms swung to the limit, containing an extremely high level of saber attack. This was an instinctive talent, an attack evolution that matched the insectoid commander's physical strength to the limit. Very strong. In terms of saber techniques alone, the Bug Tribe commander far surpassed Lin Feng. Even in the entire Taichu, there was not a single cultivator whose sword technique realm was higher than that of the Bug Tribe's Grand Commander. Destroy. Gold and Hongmeng entwined around Lin Feng as he brandished his saber, Snow Jewel. Although his saber technique's realm was ordinary, his saber technique was connected to Hongmeng's laws. As a support, it was not countered by the insectoid commander's attack. Lin Feng's main point of attack was Hongmeng's laws, the embodiment of the mountain core world. Mind cultivators had many ways of attacking. They were good at using their strengths to attack the enemy's weaknesses. If the insectoid commander's soul defense was weak, Lin Feng would focus on soul attacks. If the insectoid commander's close-range combat ability was weak, Lin Feng would focus on close-range attacks. However, Lin Feng's enemy this time was very strong and well-rounded. Regardless of whether it was close-range attacks or defense, soul attacks or soul defense, the insectoid commander was very good at all of them. He was the ultimate insectoid and had extremely high intelligence. He was the top existence among the big yin insects. With the power level of the Hongmeng Sea, this was a battle between mind cultivators. Furthermore, they were both good at all aspects and were near perfect mind cultivators. This fat insectoid is even stronger than the one in the milieu Tuor realm. Sherwan watched the battle from the side. He had no intention of interfering. On one hand, he was very confident in his brother, Lin Feng. On the other hand, with his current strength, even if he joined the battle, it would not affect the outcome of the battle. However, Big Brother will definitely win. In Sherwan Li's heart, his brother, Lin Feng, was invincible. There was no exception in any battle. Every battle was like a rebirth, and the more he fought, the stronger he became. Quadruple destruction. The power of the small world embodiment was constantly activated. In the previous battle, Lin Feng still had difficulty using the quadruple destruction. Now, he could easily use it and control it freely, and his attacks were even stronger. It was the same quadruple destruction. The four small world embodiments did not have enough Hongmeng energy before, but now they were 100% saturated. The power was naturally much stronger. Boom! This time, the insectoid commander no longer hid his strength. He took Lin Feng's attack head-on. The exquisite sharp claws broke Lin Feng's quadruple destruction and directly threatened Lin Feng's physical body. Clang! Golden light bloomed. Lin Feng was calm and composed. With himself as the origin, the golden engravings above the large world embodiment firmly protected him. Lin Feng clearly knew how strong the insectoid commander's close-range attack was and how terrifying its close-range defense was. He would kill him even if he was injured. So how could he not be prepared? Pum! That was the power of great destruction. Lin Feng had only activated a little of the power of the large world embodiment, but it had already caused the insectoid commander's expression to change. He clearly felt how terrifying Lin Feng's attack was. He was very familiar with this attack. It was the same self-destruction, but it was more than 10 times stronger than before. Whoosh! Although the insectoid commander's body was huge, it was not bloated at all. Instead, it was very agile. It quickly escaped the range of Lin Feng's large world embodiment and pulled away, not giving Lin Feng a chance to self-destruct. However, Lin Feng had never planned to self-destruct. Quintuple destruction. Lin Feng strengthened his attack again. The power of the battle sword, Snow Jewel, was displayed. With the large world embodiment as the center, the golden engravings glowed faintly, controlling the connection points and evolution points. Lin Feng's quintuple destruction was perfect, one after another. It was like a small piece of the Great Destruction engravings. As the attack exploded, it contained a little of the Great Destruction's mysteries. Boom! The insectoid commander was directly blown away. He could escape once, but he could not escape twice. He tried his best to avoid Lin Feng's self-destruction attack, but he did not expect Lin Feng's current ordinary attack to be so powerful. Sixfold destruction. Lin Feng's large world embodiment directly enveloped him, completely restricting the insectoid commander's movements. Every additional destruction increased the power by several times, and it became harder to control. However, this was definitely not Lin Feng's limit. Lin Feng had already comprehended 1888 types of destruction. Lin Feng had also comprehended the Level 7 Hongmeng Law, Great Destruction. Today is the day you die. Lin Feng was decisive and used all his strength. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3086. Sixfold destruction. Sevenfold destruction. Eightfold destruction. Lin Feng's attacks were increasing, and the insect race commander's injuries were worsening. The sturdy scales on his body had long been shattered. This insignificant human strength was unfathomable, and it was difficult for the insect race commander to move. He wanted to kill this damned human, but things did not go according to his wishes. He could not do anything to Lin Feng, even after using all his strength. On the contrary, he was restrained everywhere. If not for his strong defense and the large amount of energy in his body, he would have been killed by Lin Feng long ago. Now, he was still in a desperate situation. How can he be so strong? The more the insect race commander fought, the more his heart palpitated. That human brat who did not hesitate to self-destruct to injure him had become so strong in just a few dozen years. He was completely suppressed. Even if the insect race commander did not want to admit it, he knew that he was no match for Lin Feng. If he continued to fight, he would definitely lose. Rumble. The earth shook and the sky shook. Flames shot out from the ground, and the scorching basin almost collapsed. As the insect race commander roared, his greenish-white eyes turned blood-red. His body turned illusory, and endless illusions enveloped him. Sharp. His soul was trembling. The insect race commander attacked violently. You used this move last time. Lin Feng's expression did not change. He allowed the insect race commander's illusions and soul attacks to attack him at the same time. He was still strong. Hongming's golden body was protecting him, and his universe golden soul was 100 times stronger. With the addition of the universe golden heart's will, he was unharmed. Lin Feng's strongest points were his will and soul. The insect race commander's attack this time had completely kicked an iron plate. However, he had no choice. He had to create an opportunity to escape. Otherwise, he would be restricted by Lin Feng's domain, and the insect race commander would have nowhere to run. 10 layers of destruction. The battle saber's snow jade exploded, and the saber light was filled with the mystery of destruction. The 10 small world incarnations combined their power under the big world incarnation's continuous movement, and the power condensed in the battle saber snow jade's attack. Incomparably powerful. Even though Lin Feng's saber techniques were very ordinary, and his realm was far inferior to the insectoid commander's attacks, this attack completely suppressed the insectoid commander. It was as if Mount Tai was pressing down on it. No matter how amazing the insectoid commander's attacks were, or how high its realm was, it could not withstand it, breaking through the Tao with force. There was no need for him to control it. Not only had Lin Feng's comprehension of destruction and great destruction reached perfection from the elementary origin realm, but he had also fully grasped the world of the mountain core. Hongming's energy was at 100%. Boom! Chi! The insectoid commander screamed and struggled madly, causing the basin to shake violently. The insectoid commander tried to escape, but how could it escape from Lin Feng's grasp? Apocalypse. Lin Feng's great world incarnation had long ago taken control of the entire region. The moment the insectoid commander entered, the golden engravings shone brightly. The 7th-stage primordial law of the Xiantian Great Perfection stage, Great Annihilation, exploded. The insectoid commander, who was already injured, was directly stunned. The insectoid commander let out an ear-piercing and unpleasant roar. It was too late. Chi, 10 dark red rays of light formed a line. The golden Hongming's energy fused with Snow Jewel and fell from the top of the insectoid commander's head. Boom! The insectoid commander's enormous body fell to the ground. Its aura became weaker and weaker until it disappeared. Killed in one strike. Good. Shi Wanli shouted excitedly from the side. Strong. Big brother. You finally killed this fat insectoid. Lin Feng smiled and put away Snow Jewel. His great world incarnation and his small world incarnation both disappeared. It was impossible to tell that they had just gone through a fierce battle. It's not over yet. Lin Feng took the insectoid commander's golden universe sac and golden universe sarcoma before putting away the insectoid commander's corpse. Killing the insectoid commander didn't mean that the insectoid plague had been quelled, especially when the Taichu outside was in chaos. The insectoid's momentum had risen, and it would be very difficult to suppress them. At least it's a good start, Shi Wanli said happily. Everyone must know that you killed the insectoid commander. Their morale will definitely be boosted. Lin Feng connected to the first marshal's communicator. This was indeed good news. The Taichu was troubled by the insectoid plague, so it was time for them to receive some good news to boost their morale. Lin Feng. The first marshal's voice could be heard. He was a little anxious, uneasy, hesitant, and all sorts of emotions. As the commander of the army, he was under a lot of pressure, especially when the current situation was a mess and he couldn't do anything about it. the pressure on the first marshal's shoulders increased. "I have good news, Marshal," Lin Feng said. The first marshal was slightly stunned. He instinctively replied, "What good news?" Lin Feng smiled. "I found the insectoid commander's hiding place." "What?" The first marshal's originally dispirited expression instantly changed, as if someone stepped on his tail. His eyes widened and his breathing quickened. Wait. Are you telling the truth? Where is he? I'll come over immediately. Don't alert him. This time, we can't let him escape. Wait for me. I'll immediately inform Pang Yu, and we'll work together to kill him." The first marshal was a little incoherent. He gritted his teeth. He was both nervous and excited. He had been waiting for such an opportunity for a long time. However, he hadn't received any news about the insectoid commander for dozens of years. He didn't expect Lin Feng to bring him such good news not long after he came back. "There's no need, Marshal." Lin Feng finally found a chance to interrupt. "What do you mean there's no need?" After a long while, the first marshal's anxious voice could be heard from the communicator. "Lin Feng, don't do anything rash. This isn't a joke. You don't know how strong the insectoid commander is." He's already dead," Lin Feng said calmly. "Dead? What dead?" The first marshal's words were stuck in his throat. He couldn't say anything else. His stunned expression made Black Python Hongmeng, who was beside him, feel surprised. In an instant, the first marshal was petrified. He was stunned on the spot. He couldn't react for a long time. "Wait, I didn't hear wrongly. Lin Feng, what you said just now," the first marshal said carefully. His chest rose and fell as he forced himself to calm down. "You said that the insectoid commander is dead?" "Yes," Lin Feng replied with certainty. The first marshal's eyes widened. "Really? How'd he die? That's impossible." "The insectoid commander was dead?" The Black Python Marshal Grand Mist was shocked beyond words. "Yes, I just found him and killed him," Lin Feng said casually. "Marshal, you don't have to come over. I'll come back to find you now. Wait for me." After saying that, without waiting for the first marshal's reply, Lin Feng ended the call and jumped onto Sherwan Li's back. Whoosh! Sherwan Li left through the air. He rushed to the entrance of Miluo Tuo realm at his fastest speed. "Dead. The insectoid commander is dead." The first marshal's mouth twitched. He laughed foolishly to himself. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he laughed loudly. "Ha ha! The insectoid commander is dead. We have hope. Taichu is saved." Chapter 3087. The Bug Race commander is dead. Where did this news come from? Is it true? It was announced by the first great marshal. How could it be false? He was killed by Lin Feng. Lin Feng? Which Lin Feng? Which Hongmeng marshal in the army? Wait, don't tell me the Lin Feng you're talking about is the human Yuan Venerate who swept through the ultimate god list? A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. After Lin Feng told the news to the first marshal immediately announced the good news. To Absolute Beginning, whose morale was at its lowest, this was definitely a great piece of news that raised their morale. A dragon couldn't do without a head. The Bug Race was a pyramid-shaped race. The death of the Bug Race commander was a huge blow to the Bug Race. However, the Taichu cultivators weren't certain about the accuracy of this news. After all, it was too shocking. A Yuan Venerate killing the Bug Race commander, who had the combat power of the first great marshal. That was a peak universe ruler. Making a fuss over nothing. They wouldn't say that if they knew that Lin Feng had killed dozens of big yen bugs alone. Before this, Lin Feng and the second marshal ambushed the insectoid commander together and heavily injured him. The insectoid commander had no choice but to hide. It's normal for them to kill the insectoid commander now. They are too narrow-minded, just like how they were unwilling to help us guard the Miluo to a boundary. Now, it's too late for regrets. Fools. They don't even know how strong Sir Lin Feng is. They're all frogs in a well. Lin Feng's prestige in the army was still rather high. The first great marshal didn't conceal Lin Feng's battle achievements, as this was indeed Lin Feng's doing. He wouldn't lie just because Lin Feng wasn't a member of the army. How could a narrow-minded person like him be worthy of being a commander? If the news was directly announced, even the elites of the army would find it hard to believe that Lin Feng had killed the insectoid commander. However, ever since he entered Milieu Tor realm, Lin Feng had performed miraculous feats time and time again. He had killed dozens of great yin insects and forced the insectoids to fight with their backs against the wall. Then, he had worked together with the second marshal to heavily injure the insectoid commander. Every battle had proven Lin Feng's strength. He was very strong. Not only was he the strongest Yuan Venerate in the Tai Chu, but he was also the strongest Yuan Venerate in the Hongmeng Sea. Once the news of the insectoid commander's death spread out, the morale of the four super forces outside Milieu Tua soared. The cultivators who were originally exhausted from dealing with the insectoids seemed to have been injected with chicken blood, their confidence rising. Without the insectoid commander, how long could the insectoid survive? Could they still continue to strut around? I'm not too sure about that either. The first marshal smiled bitterly. He was actually in a good mood. After all, such a large-scale insect disaster has only happened once. This is the second time. Tai Shi's disaster? Lin Feng had heard a little about it. The first marshal nodded. Tai Shi's disaster was much more serious than ours. When the insect disaster broke out, there were close to 100 great yin insects. At its peak, there were thousands of great yin insects and countless ordinary universe-devouring insect monarchs and universe-splitter insect kings. Thousands of great yin insects. Lin Feng sighed. How powerful was the insectoid commander to be able to reproduce so many great yin insects? The first marshal seemed to have read Lin Feng's mind and said softly, he was comparable to a world master. Fan Zhu and the Thousand Blood Empress both fought him before and were evenly matched. Tai Shi's sub-universes were devoured one after another, and the insectoid army was invincible. How terrifying! Lin Feng could imagine the scene. Every great yin insect had the power of a universe master at the very least, and they were all top-tier universe masters. When thousands of universe masters descended, even if all the power of the entire primordial ocean gathered together, it would not be easy to deal with them, let alone Genesis Supreme. After that, Tai Shi's Guhuang appeared, right? Lin Feng knew most of Tai Shi's disaster, but he wasn't clear about the details. Tai Shi Guhuang, Hongmeng Ocean Emperor, was a super great being filled with legends. Anyone who challenged the investiture of the gods before would know this name. Just like Lin Feng, he had swept through the sovereign and godly venerables investiture of the gods. Among the investiture of the gods that Tai Shi Guhuang challenged, he was always ranked first. Whether it was Qian Chou Shui, one of the 5 world masters, or Lin Feng, who shocked the entire Hongmeng Ocean, none of them could break Tai Shi's record. His strength was publicly acknowledged. He was invincible in the Hongmeng Ocean. Heroes are born in troubled times. The first marshal was full of respect for Guhuang. Back then, the 4 origin chaos universes had already given up on Tai Shi and allowed him to be swallowed by the bug race. Many great beings, including Tai Shi, had already retreated. In Tai Shi's darkest time, Guhuang appeared. He was unknown, but during Tai Shi's disaster, he killed crazily and grew wildly. He stepped on the corpses of the bug race and reached the peak step by step. He single-handedly ended Tai Shi's disaster that had lasted for 89,000 eras. So powerful. Lin Feng sighed. Very powerful indeed. The first marshal was full of praise. He looked at Lin Feng with admiration. However, Lin Feng, you're not inferior to him. If not for you, Tai Chu would have followed in Tai Shi's footsteps. It's all thanks to everyone. Lin Feng didn't take the credit. The situation hasn't improved yet. Outside Milieu, the bug race is still rampaging in Tai Chu. They can't be suppressed anymore. If this drags on, I'm afraid, Lin Feng sighed softly. He could kill the bug race commander, but there were so many bug race beings in Tai Chu that he couldn't kill them all. There was nothing he could do. If he had to search for them one by one, how long would it take to kill them all? Plus, the bug race's reproduction ability was too terrifying. There will be a way. The first marshal's eyes were filled with worry. He didn't have a good solution in this regard. Back then, how did Senior Guhuang destroy the bug race army? Lin Feng asked. I'm not sure. The first marshal shook his head. Back then, the various factions had already retreated from Taishu and left him to fend for himself. No one knows what method Gu Huang used to destroy the bug race. What happened after the insect disaster was quelled? Didn't you ask? Lin Feng asked doubtfully. The first marshal said, after Taishu's calamity was quelled, Gu Huang completely sealed off Taishu's borders and forbade any cultivators from the other origin chaos universes from entering, including universe rulers and world lords. Anyone who entered was killed without mercy. Lin Feng sighed softly and nodded silently. He could understand Gu Huang. When Taishu was at his lowest, the other origin chaos universes didn't help him. Taishu's own universe rulers also left. Now that Taishu's calamity was quelled, they were no longer needed. Like his name, he was arrogant and domineering. Plus, he was an invincible emperor who grew up in the flames of war and slaughter. He was Taishu's savior. The entire Taishu followed his lead. With his strength, ordinary universe rulers couldn't afford to offend him. It was to the extent that his strength was above that of a world lord. Chapter 3088. Rely on yourself. In this aspect, Lin Feng and Gu Huang were very similar. Those who followed the crowd didn't have a high upper limit. Those who were alone would stand out. After saying goodbye to the first marshal, Lin Feng and Shi Li left Miluo Tuo realm. With the help of the Yao Tuo race and the bug commander's death, Miluo Tuo realm was no longer a threat. As long as the army didn't make any mistakes, it would only be a matter of time before they wiped out all the bugs with the help of the Yao Tuo race and Glacier Tide. However, other than the Taichu race, there wasn't a local snake like the Yao Tuo race. The realm was vast, so searching for the bugs was even more difficult. Some things had to be done. Some things could only be done after trying. Lin Feng wouldn't wait. No matter what, he had to investigate the environment first to see if there was any way. The bugs definitely have a weakness, but it's hidden very well. Lin Feng stood on Shi Li's back and absorbed the bug commander's golden universe bag. The boundless energy was comparable to dozens of big yin worms. This time, he absorbed a lot and was different from ordinary big yin worms. The universe golden core is also increasing. Is this what makes the insectoid Grand Commander special? Lin Feng's universe golden body and universe golden soul had both reached the limit of 100 times. Although the universe golden core was increasing along with the entire body, it didn't directly evolve. Until now, it was only 10 times. However, after absorbing the bug commander's golden universe bag, the universe golden core's energy was increasing rapidly. Ordinary bugs don't have intelligence, and even big yin worms don't have high intelligence. Only the bug commander has high intelligence and commanding ability. Hence, he is special and different from other big yin worms. After losing the bug commander, will the bug race become a pile of loose sand? Or will the big yin worm continue to lead? Can the big yin worm control all the bugs? Lin Feng rejected. No. The reason why the Grand Commander of the Bug Clan can control all the Bug Clan members perfectly is because these Bug Clan members were born by him and contain a trace of his will. Even the Big Yin Bug, the ultimate form of the Bug Clan, was formed by the combination of the time devouring Bug Emperor and the universe splitter Bug King. It's the same. It's the reproduction of the insectoid commander. In Taichu, there was no one else who knew more about the Zerg than Lin Feng. Even Fan Zhu hadn't absorbed the big yin insect's black boar before because he couldn't absorb or sense it. However, Lin Feng's internal universe was perfect and contained all kinds of energy. Hence, he had a thorough understanding of the insectoids. Since Senior Gu Huang was able to eradicate the insectoids, it means that there must be a way. Is he like me, killing the insectoid commander before killing the other insectoids one by one? Something's not right. Genesis Supreme had far more insectoids than the Taichu. Just the light amplifying insects numbered in the thousands, and they were killed one by one. With Genesis Supreme's massive army, how could Senior Lonely Glory possibly wipe out all the insectoids? There must be a way. Lin Feng pondered as he absorbed the insectoid commander's energy. It was normal that he couldn't figure it out. If it was so easy to think of a way, the army would have thought of it long ago. After pondering for a long time, Lin Feng still didn't have a clue even after absorbing the Insectoid Commander's Golden Universe sac. He continued to absorb the Golden Universe sarcoma. Just like the Golden Universe sac, the absorption of the Golden Universe sarcoma also greatly improved the Golden Heart of the Universe. Not bad. Lin Feng was satisfied. His goal was to transform the Hongmeng elemental body when he became a powerful being. This was the most powerful realm in the Tao of Meng. It was very difficult, and only when he became a powerful being would he have a chance. Lin Feng had already reached the 100x golden body and golden soul of the universe. However, the 100x golden heart of the universe was still far away. Now, it had shrunk by almost half. If he wanted to quell the insectoid plague, he couldn't be careless with his cultivation. Only when he was strong enough would he have the ability to solve all problems. Killing the Insectoid Commander was just like that. Besides, Lin Feng felt that an even bigger storm was coming. Even Fan Zhu, Army God, and other great beings at the pinnacle of the Taichu Pyramid were trying their best to resist it. It was probably 10,000 times scarier than the Insectoid Plague. The energy of the Golden Universe Sarcoma was weakening bit by bit. The Insectoid Commander's Golden Universe Sac and Golden Universe Sarcoma were comparable to the total energy of dozens of big yin bugs. Not to mention the strengthening of the Golden Heart of the Universe. Just the strengthening of the Hongmeng Golden Body alone was quite impressive. The newly transformed Hongmeng Golden Body required a huge amount of energy. One had to know that a perfect Hongmeng Golden Body was at the level of a world master. However, Lin Feng was only at the pinnacle universe master level, and Hongmeng Golden Body couldn't even unleash 5% of its power. This energy is enough to raise my power to the next level. Lin Feng was very satisfied with the results of this cultivation. The energy accumulated and strengthened his power. It was perfect. The only flaw was that he still hadn't thought of a way to stop the insectoids. Wait a minute. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. His eyes gleamed. The Insectoid Commander's Golden Universe Sac and Golden Universe Sarcoma can both raise the Golden Heart of the universe. This proves that they have merged with the Insectoid Commander's willpower. Every insectoid is the offspring of the Insectoid Commander, and they all have a shred of the Insectoid Commander's willpower. Especially the most direct offspring of the Insectoid Commander, the time-devouring Bug Emperor, the universe-splitting Bug King, and the Big Yin Bug that they form. They all have a stronger willpower. Since I can use the Big Yin Bug Blackboard to sense the traces of the Insectoid Commander, why can't I use his willpower to search for his offspring? The possibility was very high. The willpower of the Insectoid Commander hadn't disappeared. It was only absorbed by him and merged with his Golden Heart of the universe. Sensing was relative. Since he could sense the Insectoid Commander through the Big Yin Bug Blackboard, he should be able to do the same in reverse. Lin Feng quickly absorbed the Golden Universe Sarcoma. His mind was completely immersed in the Golden Heart of the universe that had reached 47 times. All of his willpower was perfectly concentrated. As a mental cultivator, Lin Feng's willpower was relatively strong. Again and again, again and again, Lin Feng kept trying. Willpower itself was formless. When absorbed into the Golden Heart of the universe, it was completely merged and hard to distinguish. However, there was always a difference between what was absorbed and what was his. Lin Feng's continuous attempts finally yielded results. I got it. Lin Feng could faintly feel a thread of connection, becoming clearer and clearer. In the endless space, there were formless threads connecting in all directions. Countless transparent threads gathered together to form a huge map. Some were thick, some were thin. The thick transparent threads represented that the stronger the willpower of the Insectoid Commander, the deeper the connection. Some were so thin that they couldn't be touched, almost undetectable. As expected, Lin Feng revealed a smile. Although this wasn't the best method, at least for now, it was quite effective. He could find and kill the insectoids with the strongest willpower of the Insectoid Commander. Especially the few big yin bugs that escaped, they were the most important. Chapter 3089. Three of them. Through the will connection, Lin Feng quickly sensed the three closest big yin insects, which are all the big yin insects in the Tai Chu. There were still many big yin insects in the Miluo Tuo realm, but only these three had escaped from the entrance of the Miluo Tuo realm. It was not hard to tell. The will connection was like a transparent thread, and the big yin insect contained the strongest will of the insect race commander, so the thread was thicker and deeper. The other thin threads were from the time devouring insect emperor and the space-splitting insect king. However, Lin Feng was unable to find all of the universe devouring insect emperors and universe-splitting insect kings. Until now, there were already dozens of great yin insects. Just like the insect race's grand commander, they could reproduce the universe devouring insect emperors and universe-splitting insect kings. As for the normal insect race, they were completely unrelated to the insect race commander and could not be detected. Hence, Lin Feng could only sense a small portion of the insect race. It was impossible to rely on his own strength to eliminate all of the insect race in the Tai Chu. This was because most of the time devouring insect emperors and space-splitting insect kings were not produced by the insect race commander, but by normal big yin insects. Normal big yin insects did not have any willpower, and absorbing their golden universe pouches and lumps would only increase one's own golden heart of the universe. Very good at hiding, Lin Feng came to an uninhabited corner of the universe, and the surroundings were pitch black. Hongming's energy was less than 10% of Miluo Tuo realms, and it was extremely desolate. No wonder the four superpowers have yet to find the big yin insects. Lin Feng stood on Shi Wanli's back and looked down at the area that was completely occupied by the insect race. Not far away, the big yin insect was emitting a terrifying aura, like tens of thousands of black holes devouring energy at the same time. Hongming's energy was less, but it was fine. The Hongmeng Sea's energy was flowing, so the Hongmeng energy in this area could be continuously absorbed, and the big yin insects could produce normal insect race without limit. Even if the efficiency is slow at the beginning, as the number of insect race produced increases, there will not be much difference in the future. The four superpowers and the army have fallen into a misunderstanding. The insect race does not necessarily need an area with strong energy to reproduce. So, Shi Wanli tore through the sky. Lin Feng's expression was calm. This region had clearly reproduced for countless epochs. The number of insects was extremely shocking, and there were at least several million of them densely packed together. With the great yin insect black as the center, it was like a kingdom of the insect race. However, he did not see any big yin insects. Big yin insect black. Lin Feng could clearly sense that as the vanguard, the main mission of the great multiplication insects was to reproduce and not fight. If they were to fight, Absolute Beginning had too many experts who could kill the big yin insect. Big brother, big. Yuan Wanli was extremely confident. Killing these insects was just a matter of time for him. He had already killed countless of them in the primordial Thousand Perception Mountain and Miluo Tuo realm. However, there were so many of them here that it would take some effort to kill them all. Big yin insects, yin giant to yin, and world big yin world, yin giant, yin his, big yin with big yin, big great yin, chi. Countless universe splitter insect kings flew over and attacked Lin Feng and Shi Wanli. They were arrogant, and the tumors on their heads were ferocious. Their arms were like battle swords as they slashed out, displaying the strength of a pinnacle almighty. Outside, the universe-devouring insect queen let out an ear-piercing screech, unleashing a willpower attack and a soul attack at the same time. Even though Shi Wanli was in Hongming's body, he was still unable to withstand it. Facing millions of insectoids at the same time was too difficult. The insect race here was the result of the big yin insect's hard work after it broke out of the Miluo Tuo realm. Unfortunately, he ran into Lin Feng. While white light covered everything, and streaks of golden light contained Hongmeng energy. The Great World Incarnation Domain covered the entire insectoid territory, and all the insectoids seemed to have entered this huge shield. It's time to reel in the net. Lin Feng uttered 3 words indifferently. In an instant, the golden carvings outside the great world incarnation shone brightly. Destruction connected from one side to the other, like a chain of dominoes, from beginning to end, and from end to end. The entire territory covered by the great world incarnation shook violently. The insectoids let out ear-piercing screeches as if they sensed something. Great annihilation. Lin Feng's golden Hongmeng energy instantly triggered the great world incarnation. Lin Feng couldn't use his golden Hongmeng energy to unleash such an astonishing great annihilation. However, at the elementary origin realm, the great world incarnation's energy had been fully absorbed. What he used now was less than 1% of the great world incarnation's energy. Even so, its power was shocking. Rumble. There was only one terrifying explosion, but it fully displayed the terror of the Xiantian 7th level Hongmeng laws. Time seemed to stop. With that one and only explosion, the originally extremely noisy world instantly became quiet. The evil and unpleasant aura vanished into nothingness. Only the lone great expansion insect black remained, and it was still devouring energy. However, it was like a general without an army. There was nothing to fear. Shi Wanli was dumbfounded. This was the first time he had seen his big brother Lin Feng use such a great annihilation. Even though he knew his big brother had cultivated it to perfection, knowing was one thing, and seeing it with his own eyes was another. One move to kill 1,000,000 insectoids. Even a world lord probably didn't have this kind of power. Second brother, guard the black exit. Lin Feng's figure flashed, directly entering the great expansion insect black. It was as if the explosion just now was as simple as breathing to him. In reality, it really was simple. Although it seemed powerful, it was just the accumulation of energy. This kind of attack couldn't kill the insectoid commander, but Great Annihilation was extremely good for group attacks, especially when the Great Whirl Incarnation was full of energy. Lin Feng knew that his second brother, Shi Wanli, was trying to be brave. There were so many universe-devouring insect emperors here. If he really destroyed them all, his soul would be injured. Moreover, this wasn't the Miluo to realm, but the Taichu. Even one insectoid that escaped might have repercussions. Lin Feng wouldn't give these insectoids any chance if it was within his power, including all the insectoids in the Great Expansion Insect Black. It's useless to hide. Lin Feng cut through all obstacles, killing his way into the Great Expansion Insect Black, sweeping everything in his path. Compared to the 1,000,000 insectoids outside, the number of insectoids in the Great Expansion Insect Black was much smaller. They were just newly bred insectoids. Lin Feng didn't care about the ordinary insectoids that escaped. With Shi Wanli guarding outside, he was very assured. His target was the Great Expansion Insect. Hiding in the deepest part of the Great Expansion Insect Black, Lin Feng raised his blade and directly killed the Great Expansion Insect without any effort. To the current Lin Feng, the Great Expansion Insect was too weak. Too weak. Chapter 3090. After clearing out the bugs in the Big Yin insect, he collected the Big Yin insect. Hua, a streak of light flashed past, and the evil aura of the ownerless blackboard disappeared. Lin Feng leaped on 100,000 miles back, and in a split second, he turned into a stream of light and flew away, leaving this desolate land. Everything was normal. Nothing had happened. No one knew that there were millions of bugs here, and that there was a Big Yin insect that was secretly accumulating power. From discovery to clearing them out, from arrival to departure, only a blink of an eye had passed. The bug army had been wiped out. Big brother, you are too strong. Shi Wanli was shocked. I didn't even have time to act, and you already cleared the area. You didn't even give me a chance to show off. Lin Feng laughed. I will do the tiring work first. Second brother, you are my trump card, so naturally, you will act at the most important time. Shi Wanli laughed. Of course. They looked at each other and laughed. The two brothers had fought side by side, and their relationship was not bad. Unfortunately, Lin Feng could not find a way to help Li transform into a Hongmeng body. Li was already a powerful being, and his internal universe was mature and stable. It was very difficult for him to evolve from a Hongmeng body to a Hongmeng metal body, unless there was a great opportunity. But if he could do it one day, with Li's talent and the inheritance of the master of 100 million wheels, he could reach the level of a world lord. In comparison, Lin Feng himself had a much higher chance of evolving into a Hongmeng metal body and reaching the limit of the path of Meng, the Yuan body. With his current attainments as a heart cultivator, forming a Hongmeng Yuan body was only a matter of time. But Lin Feng did not consider this now. The most important thing now was to quell the bug disaster. Done. Li blinked at Lin Feng, as if he was hiding something from Lin Feng. After a few eras, they finally killed the second big yin insect. He had hidden it too well. Although Lin Feng could save a lot of time by teleporting, this great yin insect was hiding in the spatial turbulence. It was even more cunning than the first great yin insect. Just searching for it took several epochs. There's only one left. Lin Feng leaped onto Li's back and heaved a sigh of relief. The last one is amazing. Li sighed. The most dangerous place is the safest place. Who would have thought that the last big yin worm had already taken root in Universe 15? That's why the insectoids silently appeared in Universe 15. Lin Feng said, "It hides very deeply and absorbs very little energy. It relies entirely on the reproduction of the universe-devouring insect monarchs and the universe-splitter insect monarchs. Even if it's the universe-devouring bug queen and the universe-splitter bug king, wouldn't they be discovered if the super blackboard absorbed their energy?" Li didn't understand. Lin Feng shook his head. "If I'm not wrong, these super blackboards should be hidden in the super black hole, or perhaps they have taken over and merged with the super black hole, so it's impossible to accurately distinguish." "That's too cunning," Li muttered. Lin Feng said, "Of all the energy in the Hongmeng Sea, the energy of the universe itself is one of the easiest to absorb, and the energy is vigorous and easy to absorb. Although the possibility of the super blackboard being discovered is very high, the absorption efficiency is also very high. And the great yin insect isn't afraid of being discovered at all. During the period of being discovered, it has already profited by absorbing enough energy. It can also delay the footsteps of the Taichu powerhouses and make them exhausted. On the other hand, it can assist the development of the other two great yin insects." Li laughed. "Unfortunately, the other two great yin insects have already been killed before it, then sent it to see its two brothers. Okay, in the 15th universe, the four superpowers were guarding it together. Ever since the insect race first appeared in the 15th universe, the four superpowers have been extremely nervous. The first marshal had also repeatedly warned them that in terms of war, the 15th universe was a pass, and it was a place that the military must fight for. Damn it, where did the insect race infiltrate from? We've clearly guarded the 15th universe tightly, so how can the insect race appear out of thin air again and again? It's so annoying. These smelly insects aren't very strong, but they've created chaos. No matter how we kill them, we can't kill them all. I'm so angry." All the universe masters flew into a rage, and they were beyond furious. The most annoying thing was this kind of enemy. They were clearly weaker than you, but they hid and kept delaying you. They didn't want to fight you directly and gradually wore down your patience. "Old Taoist, what do you think?" Great Priest Jing Sha of the Taichu Inquisition asked. "That's right, Old Taoist. You're the most experienced here, and you've experienced the disaster of Taishu. You should be the most familiar with the insect race's tricks," Yinshi Jinren of the Jiu group said. Pang Dao of the Dao Yin Palace shook his head and grunted, but he didn't answer. What did he know? If he knew, he would have killed all those smelly insects long ago. It was so annoying. They might be hiding in the 15th universe. Chimu of the Heavenly Pool Alliance had a thick nasal sound. He had black and yellow bull horns and indestructible scales. He was a unique and special creature in the Hongmeng Sea. Impossible. Great Priest Jing Sha snorted. How can the big yin insect be so stupid? Yin Shizhenren laughed. Don't think that the insect race is as simple as you. Old Chimu, you know that we're guarding the 15th universe. If the big yin insect is here, it'll be trapped by us. Pang Dao rolled his eyes. He didn't agree with Chimu's opinion. This beast from the Heavenly Pool Alliance was strong, but he wasn't very smart. Chimu didn't refute. He just lay there quietly. The four of them were the universe masters of the four superpowers in the 15th universe. On one hand, they were to prevent the insect race from invading. On the other hand, when the insect race appeared in the 15th universe, they were to contain and pacify it as quickly as possible. Great Priest Jing Sha was slightly surprised. What's wrong? Yin Shizhenren looked over. A cultivator from the army has come, Great Priest Jing Sha said. Pang Dao wondered. Isn't the army in charge of the Miluo territory? What is he doing in the 15th universe? I don't know. Great Priest Jing Sha shook his head. He might be carrying a secret order from the First Marshal, or he might be here to take a look at the current situation in the 15th universe. In any case, let him in first. Okay, the universe masters agreed. Currently, the 15th universe was supervised by the four superpowers. No power or cultivator was allowed to enter at will. However, the person who had come was a cultivator from the army, so the four superpowers had to give him some face. Outside the floating palace, a figure quickly appeared. He stood on the back of a Garuda bird and flew over. He only had the aura of a Yuan Venerate, but the four universe masters who had come out to welcome him looked a little embarrassed. They had thought that the person who had come was the Hongming Marshal, or at least a Taichu Marshal. Who would have thought that the person who had come was actually a Yuan Venerate? Chapter 3091. Lin Feng. Daoyin Palace's Pang Dao raised his mustache. He recognized Lin Feng. Little Hong Dao Rui was his disciple, who had once been the leader of the Taichu Huangzun until Lin Feng had appeared and swept through the Huangzun list and the Divine Venerate list. Now, Little Hong Dao Rui's eyes lit up at the mention of Lin Feng. He admired Lin Feng even more than his master. Lin Feng. Oh, it's him. Although great divine priest Jing Sun and perfected Yinshi had never seen Lin Feng before, they had heard of his name. Lin Feng's reputation in the Taichu was much more resounding than that of ordinary universe rulers. He had been a hot topic recently. Wait, did he join the army? Isn't Lin Feng alone without any power? The universe rulers of the four superpowers were very curious. They had always wanted to recruit Lin Feng, but they hadn't found the opportunity. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, the army would seize the opportunity? Lin Feng greets the four seniors. Lin Feng bowed slightly. The four universe rulers raised their heads slightly and responded somewhat arrogantly. For dignified universe rulers had come together to welcome a Yuan Venerate who was still wet behind the ears. Their old faces were a little embarrassed. Did you come on behalf of the army or on your own? Great divine priest Jing Sun held an amber scepter and wore a crown. He was dressed in a loose reddish-brown robe, just like the Pope. I came on my own, Lin Feng replied. Great divine priest Jing Sun frowned slightly and glanced at Lin Feng. No matter what you came here for, go back. Universe 15 is under our supervision. Don't cause any trouble. Pang Dao shook his head and smiled. Thank you, Lin Feng. Perfected Yin Shi asked, why didn't you go to Miluo Tua territory to kill the bug race? The army is recruiting cultivators who work for the Taichu. I just came out of Miluo Tua realm. Lin Feng was neither servile nor overbearing as he faced the four universe masters. He glanced at them and smiled. Although this has nothing to do with the army, it has something to do with the bug clan. Was it related to the insectoids? The four universe masters looked at each other. I know that the four superpowers are searching for the whereabouts of the insectoids. This junior is incompetent, but perhaps I can lend a hand, Lin Feng said. You? Reverend Yinshi's face was full of suspicion. Oh. Pang Dao's devilish laughter rang out. His eyes narrowed into slits. We appreciate your good intentions, but a mere insect plague won't be a problem for us four powers. This is a war between clans. "The power of one person is insignificant," said great divine priest Jing Xiao. Chimu didn't say a word from head to toe. He just watched quietly. If it had been Hong Meng from the army, he would have been thrilled to see Lin Feng. The Taichu Marshal and Hong Meng Marshal were well aware of Lin Feng's brilliant achievements in Miluo Tuo realm. The title of Nemesis of the Bug Clan was well known in the army. Lin Feng. Chimu's deep voice rang out. The other three universe masters were stunned and looked over. Chimu rarely spoke. It was even rarer for him to greet a Yuan venerate he was meeting for the first time. Is the announcement made by the army true? Chimu got straight to the point. Lin Feng was slightly taken aback and nodded. Yes, the Bug Clan commander has fallen. The first marshal had already announced to the Taichu that Lin Feng had killed the Bug Clan commander and claimed that it was him who had killed the Bug Clan commander. The elites of the army naturally believed it, but the four superpowers didn't. They just didn't say it out loud. After all, regardless of whether this was true or not, it would greatly boost the morale of the four superpowers. A young Yuan venerate had killed the Bug Clan commander? Who would believe that? Do you mean that you were the one who killed the Bug Clan commander? Venerable Yinshur laughed involuntarily as he sized up Lin Feng. Don't tell me you mistook the big yin insect for the Bug Clan commander? Ahem. Pang Dao pretended to cough twice to ease the awkwardness. We are all on the same side, so there is no need to hide it. Everyone knows that this is fake news spread by the army to boost morale. They are using Lin Feng to sweep the investiture of the gods to boost morale and establish the image of an invincible hero, just like Gu Huang back then, great divine priest Jing Xiu said. Chimu's eyes flickered as he stared at Lin Feng. He hadn't believed it at first, but after seeing Lin Feng today, his thoughts changed. This young Yuan venerate was very different. Chimu couldn't explain why this was just intuition. However, as a sentient life form, his intuition was often very accurate. Lin Feng smiled. He didn't explain, nor did he need to. They didn't believe him, so it would be a waste of breath no matter how much he explained. Besides, so what if they believed him? A bunch of idiots. Lin Feng didn't want to explain, but Sherwan Li, who was behind him, curled his lips in disdain. Others feared the four superpowers, but Sherwan Li didn't care. Lin Feng wasn't afraid of anything, and Sherwan Li was also free and easy. However, Sherwan Li was naturally unhappy when he saw his big brother being questioned by four universe rulers who weren't even as strong as him. Whoosh! The universe rulers' faces turned green as anger surged. Who were they? They were the representatives of the four superpowers. Who didn't respect them when they saw them? Their strength and status were there for all to see. How could they not be angry when a mere Garuda bird was scolding them? What did you just say? Venerable Yinshur's eyes were blazing with anger. How dare Mir Almighty be so arrogant? Ridiculous. Great divine priest Jing Xiu's face was pale, and his forehead was faintly flickering with a holy light. Humph! Pang Dao Ji snorted angrily. An invisible aura enveloped the entire place. Sherwan Li sneered and didn't take them seriously at all. He glanced at them and said, "Is it wrong to say that you're idiots? You only know how to protect yourselves and let the bug race wreak havoc. Now, you're forced to make up for it. Can you still make up for it? What have you done in these dozens of eras? How many bugs have you killed? Have you seen a big insect? Besides showing off and baring your fangs and brandishing your claws in our territory, what else can you do? If you have the ability, go out and kill the big insect. You're all strong in your nest, but you're just a soft cannon outside." Pooh! Pang Dao Ji was so angry that he vomited blood. He was a great Dao master of Daoyin Palace, but this was the first time someone had called him a soft cannon. Great divine priest Jing Xiu clenched his teeth and trembled with anger, but he couldn't refute. Sherwan Li's questions were more ruthless than the last. They went straight to the point. They really didn't contribute anything. Previously, they didn't participate in the suppression of the bug race in Miluo Tuo territory. Now, they had failed to suppress the bug race. How many bugs had they killed? Very few. They hadn't even seen a big insect. Humph! How are you any better than us? Venerable Yinshur was furious. Red flames enveloped his whole body as he directly attacked Sherwan Li. You only know how to talk. What great things have you done? A Yuan venerate and an almighty. Don't act like saviors. You don't have the qualifications to judge us. Chapter 3092. Shirwanli looked at the three universe masters, who were furious. He didn't hide his disdain. We're not saviors, and we didn't do anything great, but at least we tried our best. We participated in the Battle of Thousand Perception Mountain in Hongming. The insect disaster in Miluo Ta territory was quelled, and we were also part of it. Although we failed at the last step, we killed tens of millions of insects and dozens of big yin insects. What did you do? Tens of millions of insects. Dozens of big yin insects? Great Divine Official Jing Sha and Great Priest Yin Shi were stunned. That's impossible. Nonsense. They blurted out. Great Divine Official Jing Sha snorted. Nonsense. There's no evidence. You can make up whatever you want. You killed big yin insects? You have to be able to. Great Divine Official Jing Sha's words stopped in his throat. Pang Dao, Reverend Yin Shi, and Chimu were all staring at the sky without blinking. Wanli had his communicator open for a long time, and the projection above him was enlarged. It was perfect and real. It was the scene of Lin Feng killing the cunning second big yin insect by himself. Millions of insects were annihilated by the big yin insect technique. The well-hidden big yin insect was pulled out by Lin Feng from the big yin insect blackplate. He killed it with one slash, and the big yin insect blackplate was taken by Lin Feng. The whole process was smooth and only took a moment. They were stunned. The four universe masters were all stunned. No evidence? If this wasn't evidence, then what was? One move to annihilate millions of insects. One move to kill big yin insects. What terrifying power! Huh. The projection disappeared. Lin Feng looked at Shi Wanli, amused. No wonder he was acting strangely. He thought he found something delicious. He didn't expect him to secretly record the battle. That was good as well. Doing something like 100,000 miles would save him a lot of effort. After all, killing the third big yin insect and quelling the Taichu insect disaster wasn't something he could do alone. He needed the help of the four superpowers. It's gone? Pang Dao's eyes widened. Seeing the projection disappear, he couldn't help but ask. Shi Wanli glanced at him and said, "We've killed them all. Naturally, there's nothing left." Air. Pang Dao smiled awkwardly. Shi Wanli was right. In a short period of time, all the insectoids had been killed. It was just that he had been watching the battle excitedly, but when the battle reached its climax, it suddenly stopped. That was why he couldn't help but speak up. Great Divine Priest Jing Xiao and Immortal Yin Shi blushed, unable to speak. At this point, they no longer had the confidence to refute Shi Wanli. It was not how many Zergs Lin Feng and Shi Wanli had killed, but the strength displayed by Lin Feng in the projection. It was too terrifying. Although it was only for a short moment, it was enough to know everything. The shorter the time, the stronger Lin Feng was. They were very clear about the strength of the big yin insect. Although they hadn't fought it before, they had heard that it was at least an ordinary universe master. Normally, it was comparable to a top-tier universe master. However, such a powerful insectoid couldn't even withstand one move from Lin Feng. It felt like killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. It was an easy slaughter. In the Hongmeng Ocean, strength spoke. The stronger one was, the more confident one would be. So the commander of the insectoid race was really killed by you, Lin Feng? Chi Mu asked again, staring straight into Lin Feng's eyes. Yes. Lin Feng smiled. After entering Mi Luo Ta territory again, I was lucky enough to find the hiding place of the commander of the insectoid race. I successfully killed him and resolved the regret of the insectoid disaster in Mi Luo Ta territory. With the death of the commander, the insectoids were in a state of disunity. With the cooperation of the army and the Yao Tuo race, killing the insectoids wasn't a problem anymore. Second brother and I left and came here. What you saw just now was the second big yin insect that I found. Lin Feng didn't care about the shock of the four universe masters. He continued, that day, the insectoids broke out of the encirclement of three big yin insects. I killed two of them, and the last one is hiding in the 15th universe. This is the purpose of my visit this time. There was complete silence. The four universe masters were shocked and couldn't calm down for a long time. This time, the news that Lin Feng brought was too shocking. Not only did he kill the insect tribe's commander, but he also turned the situation around that the four super forces were helpless against. They were still worried before, but now, the crisis had been resolved. Of the three big yin insects, two were dead. The location of the third one was also found. Happiness came too suddenly. By now, the four universe masters wouldn't doubt Lin Feng anymore. The truth was right in front of them, and if he still didn't admit it, it would be more embarrassing than being slapped in the face. Besides, even though they had lost some face, they had gained so much information. Actually, it was a gain? Brother Lin Feng, how do you want us to work together? Pang Dao took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. The four universe masters all had different levels of power. Pang Dao was the strongest, so he had the highest prestige. Great godly official Jing Sun and true master Yin Shi usually followed Pang Dao's lead. This big yin insect is very cunning. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. It doesn't absorb energy by itself. It hides very deep and is supplied with energy by the time-devouring Bug Emperor and universe-splitting Bug King. My guess is that the super black disk of the time-devouring Bug Emperor and universe-splitting Bug King should have merged with the black hole of the 15th universe and suppressed the absorption, so it's hard to find. Merged with the black hole? The four universe masters' expressions changed. They hadn't thought about it at all. Only Chi Mu had mentioned it once. They didn't expect the big yin insect to be so bold as to hide in the 15th universe. Leave the third big yin insect to me. As long as I kill it, the momentum of the bug race will be stopped. Lin Feng said, although the time-devouring Bug Emperor and universe-splitting Bug King are difficult to exterminate, the strength of the bug race without the big yin insect will be greatly reduced. Plus, the big yin insect is the ultimate body of the bug race, so it's very difficult for it to transform. However, this is still the 15th universe. Once the bug disaster breaks out, the consequences will be unimaginable. I'll leave the rest of the super black discs to the four of you. The super black discs were spread out in four directions. Even if Lin Feng had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't have time to spare. Plus, Lin Feng couldn't sense the super black discs, nor was he connected to them. He could only use the teleportation array to explore the 15th universe with his aura. It was a very time-consuming method, but he had no choice. Okay, leave it to us. Kill these damn bugs. The four universe masters responded. Although Lin Feng was only a Yuan Venerate and didn't belong to any power, Lin Feng's ability had completely convinced them. Yuan Venerate? It was just an empty title. Pang Dao and the others knew very well that even if the four of them worked together, they wouldn't be enough to kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng could easily kill the big yin insect, the commander of the bug race, and his strength, he had already surpassed the first marshal. Chapter 3093 Milieu to Realm Entrance. The first marshal squinted his eyes and revealed a knowing smile. His green face relaxed a lot. His long golden tail wrapped around his waist as he nodded slightly. Good news, sir. Black Python Marshal Homing's eyes were sharp as he asked. The first marshal laughed heartily. He turned off his communicator for a long time. There's good news from the 4 super factions. The 3 big yin worms have all been killed. The third big yin worm is hidden in Universe 15. If they discovered it too late, the consequences would be unimaginable. The first marshal sighed emotionally. Even he didn't expect the big yin worm to take such a risk. Placing the big yin worm in Universe 15 was the same as exposing itself to the enemy. No one expected this. However, now that he thought about it, the insectoids had already done this in Homing's 1000 Perception Mountain. Taking risks. The insectoids seemed to like taking unexpected risks. Amazing. Black Python Marshal Hongming couldn't help but praise. He nodded. Looks like the 4 super factions are quite capable. They actually found all 3 big yin worms. What use are they? The first marshal scolded jokingly. His eyes were filled with disdain. If they were so powerful and had foresight, they wouldn't have ended up in this state. Question mark? Black Python Marshal Hongming looked at the first marshal in surprise. Lin Feng did it. The first marshal's eyes were filled with admiration and praise. After killing the insectoid commander, he made another great contribution. Although there were many insectoids that escaped from Milieu to realm, there were only 3 big yin worms. Now that all 3 of them are gone, the insectoid's strength has been greatly damaged. He rarely admired Cultivator, but he was very satisfied with Lin Feng, the first marshal, in all aspects. He really hoped that Lin Feng could join the army, but he couldn't force him. So it was Lin Feng's doing. And here I was wondering why the 4 superpowers had suddenly transformed from kittens into tigers. Black Python Marshal Hongming laughed loudly. He wasn't the least bit surprised to hear that Lin Feng was the culprit. Who in the army didn't know that Lin Feng was powerful? He had just entered the Milieu Tuor realm, and he had already killed dozens of great yin insects. After that, he had even killed the great yin insect commander. He could be said to be the nemesis of the insect clan. Now that he had killed 3 great yin insects that were wandering outside, it naturally didn't count as anything. The first marshal heaved a sigh of relief. It's all thanks to Lin Feng. Now, we have less pressure on us. It's like being reborn. Black Python Marshal Hongming also revealed a relaxed smile. Although there are many insect clans in the Milieu to realm, with the cooperation of the Yao Tuo clan, as long as we control the evolution of the big yin insect, there won't be much of a problem. The first marshal nodded. The biggest problem is still the insectoids outside of Milieu. Yes, too many of them have escaped. Black Python Marshal Hongming said, even if Lin Feng killed the 3 great yin insects, it's hard to get rid of the roots. The Taichu is so big that the insectoids can hide everywhere. As long as they have enough time, they will definitely continue to cause trouble for the Taichu. There's always a way. The first marshal pursed his lips and gazed into the distance. His mind was no longer on the insect disaster. He knew that the insectoids had turned from an advantage to a disadvantage. Even if the insect disaster erupted, the Taichu could still defend against it. This would be a long battle. At least now, the Taichu could take a breather. What he was truly worried about was that there was still no news of Fan Zhu and the army god. He had been very worried during this period of time. According to what he knew, not only the top great beings of the Taichu, but the world masters and universe dominator level great beings of the other origin chaotic universes had also left. This was definitely a crisis that could overturn the Hongming Ocean. It was much scarier than the insect disaster. Hopefully, the Taichu could survive this crisis. Universe 15, in a dark and dilapidated universe secret region, Lin Feng was absorbing the great yin insect black, while Shi Wanli stood guard beside him. Now that Lin Feng had a Hongming golden body, his internal universe was perfect. Absorbing and refining the great yin insect black was easy. It was many times faster than before. After killing the 3rd great yin insect hiding here, Lin Feng started to refine and absorb it. Although the great yin insect black's energy could strengthen the Hongming golden body, Lin Feng's goal wasn't to do so. Absorbing it was just to confirm and experiment. Can you sense it, big brother? Shi Wanli asked. Lin Feng shook his head and sighed. The great yin insect and the great yin insect commander are different. Although they are both great yin insects, one has intelligence while the other doesn't. The original great yin insect black is also different. The universe golden heart wasn't strengthened. This was within Lin Feng's expectations. Previously, absorbing the great yin insect black didn't strengthen it either. It only relied on the accumulation of energy to strengthen the universe golden heart. Absorbing the great yin insect commander's golden universe tumor and golden universe sac felt completely different. Then there's no other way. Shi Wanli didn't care too much and shrugged. Lin Feng stood up and closed his eyes, trying to sense the existence of super black again. However, just like before, absorbing the great yin insect black, the golden universe tumor, and the great yin insect black, he couldn't sense the reproduction of the time, devouring insect emperor and space splitter insect king. The great yin insect should have a will. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to control the time, devouring insect emperor and space splitter insect king. Lin Feng opened his eyes and frowned. It's just that its will is too weak, and its ability to sense it isn't strong enough. There's indeed no other way. Lin Feng hoped to repeat the same trick and sense the reproduction of the Great Yin Insect Emperor and Space Splitter Insect King through absorbing the Great Yin Insect, Golden Universe Tumor, and Space Splitter Insect King. Unfortunately, things didn't go as he wished. His will was several levels lower than the Great Yin Insect Commander's. He had tried his best, but this was all he could do. It's fine, big brother. Wanli was bored to death. There's no need to keep cleaning up their mess. It's time to let the Taichu factions take some responsibility. Moreover, the 3 Great Yin insects have already been killed. The remaining ones are nothing to be afraid of. I'm also doing my best. Lin Feng smiled as he jumped and landed on Wanli's back. Indeed, the situation has stabilized. However, it's too difficult to completely eliminate the insect race. I can't think of a good way right now. Let's leave it to them. Lin Feng also knew that even if he could sense through the Great Yin Insect Emperor, he still couldn't completely eliminate the Taichu insect race. However, since he did it, he wanted to do it to the best of his ability. Where are we going, big brother? Wanli flapped his wings and instantly flew out of the secret realm. Back to the Taichu. Since the insect disaster had stabilized, Lin Feng didn't want to waste any more time. After all, he still had a lot of things to do. His various abilities needed to be strengthened. Killing the Great Yin Insect Commander didn't mean that his training was over. Lin Feng had a higher goal and even greater ambition. Steal the Taichu's origin chaos universe and form the Hongmeng Yuan body. The current him was far from enough. Chapter 3094. The Taichu origin chaos universe was very peaceful. He was as calm as ever, never showing any signs of panic. Even though the insect disaster this time had caused quite a commotion, it was gradually calming down. To ordinary cultivators, this had nothing to do with them. Lin Feng could return to early origin to continue cultivating, but there was no need for that for now. The energy of the mountain core world incarnation was already saturated, so there was no need for it to absorb more energy. Lin Feng himself also had some Hongmeng laws that he needed to sense. It was useless to have too many without mastering them. The 6th Order Hongmeng Law, Annihilation, and the 7th Order Hongmeng Law, Grand Annihilation, were both perfected. With the help of the Mountain Core World Incarnation, it was enough for Lin Feng. The next level would be comprehending the Level 8 Hongmeng Precepts. It would only increase one's realm slightly, but it would not be of much help to one's battle prowess. Without the aid of Hongmeng source items, even if one comprehended the 8th Order Hongmeng Law to perfection, it would only have the power of a Hotian perfected order. Its power was on par with the Xiantian Great Destruction Hongmeng Law. In order to increase his battle prowess, he had to comprehend the Great Calamity to the Khanate realm. Coupled with the explosive power of the Mountain Core World Incarnation, his power would be even more terrifying. However, it was too difficult to comprehend from Great Perfection to Xiantian Great Perfection. Unless I enter the primordial realm of the Great Calamity to comprehend it from a close distance, I might have a chance. However, Lin Feng knew that this was impossible. The destructive power of the Great Obliteration far exceeded the nomological laws of Hongmeng. He was only a Yuan Venerate, and his physical defense wasn't strong enough. Entering the Great Devastation primordial realm was simply courting death. Even a Mountain Core World Incarnation couldn't withstand it. Cultivation was one thing, but there was no need to joke with one's life. With my current understanding of Hongmeng's laws, I can easily enter Hongmeng's twin towers and climb the Hongji Pagoda. Lin Feng smiled. His attainments in the laws of Hongmeng were equivalent to that of a pinnacle universe master. Ascending to the 15th level of Hongji Pagoda and obtaining the Dominator set would be a piece of cake for him. But since I've already taken one set, there shouldn't be a second set. Lin Feng entered the Hongmeng world. After returning to the Emperor Star Fields, Emperor Star Fields, Emperor Star Fields, Emperor Star Field, and away from the battle with the insect race, Lin Fan could finally relax. Although he didn't feel any discomfort from the continuous battle with the insect race, he was still mentally tense. Now that he had cast everything aside, he could relax and cultivate to his heart's content. Hongming's Twin Towers. Lin Feng walked towards the Hongji Pagoda. In the past, this pagoda was like a heavenly moat to him. It was extremely difficult to climb because Lin Feng's attainments and Hongming's nomological laws were too weak. He had only cultivated Ancestor 1, Qian's 9 heavens of light and darkness. In the Hongji Pagoda, one's strength would be weakened while the power of laws would be amplified. The deeper one's comprehension of the laws was, the stronger one would be in the Hongji Pagoda. "I'm here." Lin Feng smiled as he entered the Hongji Pagoda. Many cultivators looked over with wide eyes as they recognized Lin Feng. Among the younger generation of cultivators, Lin Feng was not only the hero of the Taichu, but also their idol and role model. "It's Lin Feng. It's really Lin Feng. I'm so lucky to be able to see the real body here." Lin Feng is going to challenge the Hongming's Twin Towers again. I'm looking forward to it. Lin Feng entered the 8th level of the Hongji Pagoda. There was no need to wait. Those who could reach the 8th level of the Hongji Pagoda were cultivators who had reached the peak of the heavenly Tao or nomological laws. The last time I challenged the Hongji Pagoda, I was still a rookie in the Feather God Army. Lin Feng sighed. The world was ever-changing. Now, his words carried a lot of weight in the army. The first marshal had given him a special status in the army. His status was even higher than the Taichu marshals. He was second only to the 8 Hongmeng marshals. However, Lin Feng was only an outsider. He was not a part of the army. Although he was not the best in the Taichu, before Lin Feng, only Fan Zhu had been able to obtain such glory. A majestic pagoda guardian appeared in front of him. Lin Feng extended his palm and destroyed the Hongmeng laws. With a loud explosion, the pagoda guardian disappeared. Overpowered. Using a level 6 Hongmeng law to challenge the 8th level of the Hongji Pagoda was bullying the guardian. The pagoda guardian on the 8th level was only equivalent to an intermediate level powerful being. 9th level, 10th level, 11th level. Lin Feng passed through the levels easily. In fact, he didn't even need to use his minor world incarnation. With his attainments in the 6th grade Grand Mist Laws of Destruction, he was able to unleash the full power of the Grand Mist Laws within the Hongji Pagoda. The pagoda guardian on the 13th level collapsed. He had the strength of a universe dominator. However, in front of Lin Feng, he could not even withstand a single blow. On the 14th level, the pagoda guardian with the strength of a universe dominator was proficient in level 5 Hongmeng laws. However, when faced with level 6 Hongmeng laws, he was still overpowered. His attacks were shattered upon contact. He could not even withstand half a move. The 15th level was the most crucial level. To any universe dominator, this was a symbol of status and strength. To be able to climb to the 15th level meant that one had reached the level of a top-tier universe dominator and could obtain a true treasure, the Dominator's Set, which was comparable to a universe Hongmeng origin item and was almost indestructible. Lin Feng had climbed to the 15th level of the Hongji Pagoda before. This was the second time. However, it was easier than the first time. Destruction Blade Technique. Lin Feng did not hide his strength. There was no need to hide in the Hongji Pagoda. The most important thing was to get the rewards as soon as possible. Even though the Hongmeng Golden Body could not unleash its full power in the Hongji Pagoda, the destruction Hongmeng laws were strong enough. He killed the Pagoda Guardian with one slash. His defensive primordial chaos laws were unable to block Snow Jewel's explosive power. The Annihilation Saber art was created to complement the primordial chaos laws, so its combat strength was even greater within the Hongji Pagoda. As expected, there is no Dominator's Set. Lin Feng did not care about the reward. After all, the Dominator's Set could not be damaged and could not be sold. There was not much difference between 1 and 2 pieces. However, it gave him another treasure. It was a strange golden heartstone. Is this a Hongmeng origin item? Lin Feng looked at the golden heartstone in his hand and sized it up curiously. It contained powerful energy. It was similar to a Hongmeng origin item, but not very similar. It was more like a Hongmeng fruit. However, it did not look like it could be eaten. I have never heard of this reward for passing the 15th level of the Hongji Pagoda. Lin Feng did not know. In the entire Hongmeng Ocean, only a few people knew about this reward because this was not the reward for the 15th level of the Hongji Pagoda. It was the reward for the 15th level of the Hongmeng Dual Pole Tower. One had to pass both the Hongji Pagoda and the Hongji Pagoda at the same time. It was difficult to pass one of the Hongmeng Dual Pole Towers alone, let alone pass both at the same time. Even a world master might not be able to do it. Although I don't know the details, it is definitely something good. Lin Feng did not have time to study it. He put it in his bag and continued climbing. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Next, the real battle began. The 16th level, Pinnacle Universe Ruler. Chapter 3095. Lin Feng is challenging the Hongmeng Dual Pole Tower. Is this for real? Didn't Lin Feng just reach the 15th level? It's true. The 5 superpowers have also confirmed that Lin Feng is now competing with the Tower Guardian. I believe the news will be out soon. Wow, Lin Feng has reached the 16th level. Everyone was cheering excitedly. They felt even happier than when they had climbed the Hongmeng Dual Pole Tower themselves. Lin Feng was now very famous in the Taichu Origin Chaotic Universe, so his every move was closely watched. Climbing the Hongmeng Dual Pole Tower was naturally the focus of attention. Lin Feng is indeed Lin Feng. Reaching the 16th level is as easy as eating. That goes without saying. Lin Feng wouldn't have climbed the tower if he wasn't confident. Climbing the Hongmeng Dual Pole Tower was just a warm-up. He was really looking forward to challenging the Yuan Venerates Investiture of the Gods. He wants to set a new record. Yes, it would be great if Lin Feng could defeat the Yuan Venerates Investiture of the Gods. He would break Gu Huang's legend of invincibility. Ha ha ha, you guys are really daring. Lin Feng had already reached the 16th level in the Hongji Pagoda. Although the Tower Guardian of the 16th level was a Pinnacle Universe ruler, he wasn't as strong as the Bug Race commander. Given Lin Feng's current strength, he could still defeat the Guardian effortlessly by relying on his Mountain Core world embodiment and his understanding of the apocalypse, even though he couldn't use his Hongmeng Golden Body. However, the Guardian of the 17th level was too strong. The higher one went in the Hongmeng Dual Pole Tower, the greater the strength of each level's Guardian. The 15th floor's Guardian had strength equivalent to the 8 Grand Mist Marshals. The 16th floor's Guardian had strength equivalent to the 1st and 2nd Grand Marshals, and the 17th floor's Guardian had strength equivalent to the Army God. There were only a handful of such powerhouses in the Hongmeng Ocean. An ultimate universe ruler. Impressive. Lin Feng tried his best, but he still couldn't break through the hazy light around him. Endless rays of light circled around like illusory light, starting from a single point and ending from a single point. The stars in the sky connected into a single point, attacking and defending as one. 8th Order Hongmeng Law, Unification. The myriad Daos returned to one. The power was released from one and returned to one. The battle between Lin Feng and the 3-headed Pagoda Guardian was intense and varied. The great shattering of the Great World Incarnation had triggered the eruption of dozens of small world incarnations, displaying the maximum power of the attack. However, this was the Hongji Pagoda, the path of the Great Path. Here, the power of Hongmeng's laws would be amplified countless times, and the strength of the Tower Guardian would also have a qualitative leap compared to the 16th floor. Chi, the 3-headed Pagoda Guardian, pointed its finger, and the virtual light surrounding Lin Feng condensed in an instant. The defensive attack suddenly erupted, and the Great World Incarnation's protection shattered as if it was struck by hundreds of millions of meteors. 8th Order Hongmeng Law, Kane Perfection. The 5 superpowers had some authority in the Hongmeng world and were used to maintain order in the Hongmeng world. The news of Lin Feng's failure in the pagoda spread immediately, and they all felt sorry for him. The pagoda took a long time. It should have been an intense battle. It's a pity that his skills were inferior in the end, and he lost to the Tower Guardian. It's already impressive enough. He's only a Yuan Venerate. Once he breaks through to become an almighty, he can easily defeat the Tower Guardian and ascend to the 17th floor. TSK, you can't say that. Becoming an almighty only makes it easier to comprehend the Hongmeng Law. It doesn't make one stronger. Even if Lin Feng breaks through to become an almighty, he still needs a lot of time to cultivate the Hongmeng Law. Hold on, there seems to be something wrong? Lin Feng challenged the Hongji Pagoda, not the Mengji Pagoda. Let me see. I remember that Lin Feng reached the 15th floor in the Mengji Pagoda. I found it. It's the Mengji Pagoda. Lin Feng's record in the Hongji Pagoda has always been on the 7th floor. Everyone was silent. The almighties of the 5 super factions looked at each other in shock. They had always thought that Lin Feng would simply challenge the 16th and 17th floors. They had never imagined that it would be completely different from what they had imagined. Lin Feng was indeed challenging, but he was challenging a cultivation path that he wasn't proficient in at all. The Hongji path. This is too exaggerated. The 15th floor of the Mengji Pagoda and the 16th floor of the Hongji Pagoda. That's not all. Look carefully. Lin Feng challenged the 8th floor of the Hongji Pagoda and failed. What does this mean? It means that Lin Feng's cultivation base has risen from the 7th floor of the Hongji Pagoda to the 16th floor during this period of time. Gasp! All the almighties inhaled a breath of cold air. This was too terrifying. A mind cultivator whose fighting strength was comparable to a universe ruler's without any weaknesses. His cultivation speed was astonishing. Such a rare genius had never appeared in the history of the Hongmeng Sea. Even the current 5 great cosmos rulers weren't as monstrous as Lin Feng when they were Yuan venerates. The only one who could compare to him was that freak, Genesis Supreme, the unrivaled emperor of the Hongmeng Sea, Lonely Glory. Back then, we were still racking our brains trying to recruit him. What a joke. Haha. Lin Feng can definitely establish his own faction. Given his current reputation and strength, he could definitely become the strongest rising faction with a single call of arms. Lin Feng isn't someone who craves power. If that was the case, he would have joined one of the 5 super factions a long time ago. He is like Fan Zhu in that he is carefree and unrestrained by nature. He desires to pursue his own limits and pursue power. One day, he will definitely break through to become an almighty and become a world ruler. You might not know this, but Lin Feng made great contributions during the battle to quell the insect plague. The first marshal has already given him the highest honor in the army. It's the same as what Ancestor Fan received back then. He enjoys special privileges and doesn't need to bear any responsibilities. What? Lin Feng went to quell the insect plague? You don't know? Ha ha ha. All of you are too ignorant. Lin Feng had already participated in the battle at the Hongmeng Thousand Perception Mountain. His title of Insect Clan's nemesis has already spread throughout the army. I heard that the great commander of the Insect Clan was killed by him alone. Is that true? Lin Feng is that strong. Lin Feng didn't continue to challenge Mengji Tower. With the current strength of his Hongmeng golden body, the success rate of passing level 16 was less than 30%. After absorbing all the big yin worms, my Hongmeng golden body should be able to reach 20% saturation. The Taichu had 3 big yin worms. Lin Feng took the 3 big yin worms, but he didn't take the Miluo Tuo Realm big yin worm. Because Lin Feng only killed the big yin worms, the big yin worm didn't have time to find it. After that, he cooperated with the Yao Tuo clan. The second marshal led the Hongmeng marshals to wipe out all the big yin worms. The big yin worm was naturally given to Lin Feng. Not only was Lin Feng the only one who could absorb the big yin worm's energy, but it was also because Lin Feng deserved it. Since the first marshal gave it to him, Lin Feng accepted it without hesitation. After all, he really needed enough energy to strengthen his Hongmeng golden body. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3096. A complete Hongmeng golden body was at the level of a world lord. The primal chaos Dao Lord, one of the 5 great world lords, had spent countless eras to raise the Hongmeng golden body to 100%. The energy required for the Hongmeng golden body was too massive and could only be accumulated with pure Hongmeng energy. Although Lin Feng wouldn't be comparable to a world lord, even if he strengthened the Hongmeng golden body to 100%, he could at least reach the level of an ultimate universe lord. The insect plague had mostly been quelled, and what remained was a long-term tug-of-war. Lin Feng wasn't interested in participating. He wasn't a saint, so he didn't need to carry the Taichu on his shoulders. Lin Feng only did what he thought was right and wouldn't be bound by morality or obligations. Therefore, he had always been alone and hadn't joined the 5 great factions. If he wanted to help, he would help. If he didn't want to help, he would cultivate on his own. Even if something happened, he would solve it himself and wouldn't drag others down. Of course, there was nothing wrong with his relationship with Shirwan Li and Yi Yuan. The two of them were good brothers who had fought side by side and gone through thick and thin together. It's too difficult for second brother's Hongmeng golden body to transform into a Hongmeng golden body. Lin Feng had read a lot of information and asked the first marshal and the second marshal, but they couldn't do anything about it. Although this was indeed possible and nothing was certain in the Hongmeng Sea, it would probably require a great opportunity. Perhaps there is a glimmer of hope in the Yuan venerates investiture of the gods. Lin Feng knew very well that the rewards of the investiture of the gods were very valuable. The stronger the divine general, the better the rewards. The highest reward was a hidden reward. There were rewards for sweeping through the Huang Zun investiture of the gods and the divine venerate investiture of the gods. There would definitely be rewards for sweeping through the Yuan venerate investiture of the gods. The reward for sweeping through the Huang Zun investiture of the gods was one of the 7 almighty Hongmeng source items. The reward for sweeping through the divine venerate investiture of the gods was one of the 5 dominating Hongmeng source items. Hongmeng source items were divided into ordinary Hongmeng source items, world Hongmeng source items, universe Hongmeng source items, almighty Hongmeng source items, and dominating Hongmeng source items. Even world lords were only using sovereign primordial origin items. Lin Feng was certain that there was definitely a primordial chaos origin item that surpassed the sovereign level. Luo Hongmeng source items investiture of the dominating Hongmeng universe source items, Luo Hongmeng source items, source items. Hongmeng source items. Investiture of God source items, spear investiture of the level dominating sovereigns. Perhaps I can help second brother. Lin Feng would not be stingy as long as Shirwan Li needed it. Treasures were just worldly possessions to him. He was more concerned about his own strength, cultivation, and attainments in all aspects. The peak of the Yuan Venerate was a threshold, the most important threshold. Once he crossed it, everything would be natural and there would be no more obstacles. Seizing the body of the Taichu origin chaotic universe and achieving the Hongmeng origin body. Both were great challenges, especially seizing the body of the Taichu origin chaotic universe. Lin Feng knew very well what this meant. When he had seized the Milky Way super black hole, he had been frantically suppressed by the heavenly will of Universe 7. Now, would the heavenly will of the Taichu origin chaotic universe let him go? Actually, I shouldn't have killed the bug race commander, right? Lin Feng chuckled. The Taichu origin chaotic universe had no time to care about him when the bug race was wreaking havoc. However, now that the bug race commander had been killed and the Taichu origin chaotic universe was at peace, he was afraid that it would start thinking about him. This was an instinctive self-defense. The heavenly will would not be kind or grateful. Furthermore, Luo Yunyang wanted to seize the body of the Taichu origin chaotic universe. Let's see when it will come to suppress me. Lin Feng was also very curious. Logically speaking, now that he had returned to the Taichu origin chaotic universe and the Taichu origin bodies, heavenly will should have come to find trouble with him. However, it had not made any moves and had completely ignored him. Seems like it still has some ability. How arrogant. Lin Feng smiled. He did not avoid it, nor was he afraid. If it came, he would meet it head-on. The reward for the 15th level of the Hongji Pagoda. Now that he had some free time, Lin Feng took out the golden heartstone he had won from the 15th level of the Hongji Pagoda. It flickered with a strange light, radiated beautiful colors, and contained vigorous energy. This was definitely not an ordinary item. It's not Hongming's source item. Lin Feng did not need Hongming's source item. In addition to the mountain core world Esper, he still had the 100 million wheels 8 front formation to cultivate. No matter how many treasures he had, it would be useless. Lin Feng was more interested in treasures like the Dying Insect, Blackboard, and Golden Universe Sack that could directly strengthen his basic abilities. However, the Golden Heartstone didn't seem to be one either. Its energy was integrated with the Heartstone itself. Once the Golden Heartstone was absorbed, it would shatter. Most likely, less than 1/10 of its energy would be absorbed, and the rest would dissipate. It doesn't contain Hongming's Law, but it's a reward from the Hongji Pagoda. I understand now. It should be a joint reward from the Mengji Pagoda. Only those who reach the 15th level of the Mengji Pagoda and the Hongji Pagoda at the same time would be able to obtain it. Thus, this is a treasure for mental cultivators. Lin Feng's eyes lit up slightly. The golden primordial energy wrapped around the Golden Heart Stone. The Golden Heart of the universe condensed and resonated with the Golden Heart Stone. The Golden Heart Stone trembled slightly, as if it was jumping for joy. Strands of golden energy pierced through the sky. In Lin Feng's internal universe, golden light gathered like sand and stones to form a pagoda. Its will. At this moment, Lin Feng suddenly had an epiphany. The tangible golden heart of the universe and the intangible will are the foundation of a mental cultivator. Lin Feng's will had always been strong. However, after transforming into the golden body of Hongming, his will had been stagnant. It was trapped in the shackles as if it had touched the ceiling. Lin Feng didn't care too much about it. After all, his will was far beyond the level of a powerful being. Although there were shackles, he wasn't in a hurry to break through. Now, the Golden Heartstone's energy had gathered and filled him with wisdom. It was as if a king had descended and split open the shackles. It condensed in the golden heart of the universe. His will had transformed and strengthened. It spread throughout the inner universe and had perfect control. The huge will energy seemed to have a physical body. At that moment, Lin Feng felt the existence of the Heavenly Ways will. The incomparably huge Heavenly Ways will seem to be looking down from an endless height with vigilance and fear. It was very familiar. Lin Feng once had such a feeling in Universe 7. Now, the power of the Heavenly Ways was even greater and more powerful. Heavy suffocation and pressure assaulted him. Lin Feng's eyes were exquisite. The powerful will of the Golden Hongming's force directly shattered the huge mountain that tried to suppress him. Is it coming? Lin Feng stood with his head held high. He didn't care. No wonder the Taichu's will of the chaotic universe hadn't made any moves. It must have felt that he wasn't a threat to it. Now that his will had crossed the bottleneck, it seemed to mean that he had the ability to seize the Taichu's will of the heavenly way. Was it afraid? Chapter 30-97. Taichu Inquisition was one of the 5 superpowers of the Taichu Empire. It enjoyed a supreme position in the Taichu Empire, and it had the longest history among the 5 superpowers. In the early days, it existed to protect the Taichu Empire and the Taichu Heavenly Tao Order. As time passed, the Taichu Empire gradually stabilized, and great beings emerged in large numbers. The Taichu Inquisition Empire's position gradually declined. However, because it protected the Heavenly Tao willpower, the Taichu Inquisition Empire still occupied one of the positions among the 5 superpowers for countless eras. The 3 protector palaces stood like stars, dazzling. The statues of the 3 Taichu protectors, Sword Killing, Candlelight, and Drunken, stood tall outside the protector palaces. Below them was endless Hongming, surrounded by purple mist. 13 equally huge order palaces sat on the spiral staircase. They were the 13 order palaces, and they were guarded by the 13 order maintainers. Shwa, shwa, shwa. All of a sudden, the sky darkened. The 3 absolute beginning guardian palaces shot out 3 beams of red, blue, and yellow, gathering at the top of the sky. Deep inside the purple mist, a tremendous power vaguely appeared, loftily standing high above. Pope Empire. His position was equivalent to the military god in the army. Pope was in charge of the Taichu Inquisition, and his power and power were at the peak of the Taichu origin chaos universe. However, the Pope's throne that was gradually revealed now appeared somewhat empty. Despite the convergence of the three colors and the condensation of the stars in the sky, there was no change. The Pope was not in the Pope's throne. Only one of the three Taichu protector palaces was lit up. They've all left. I'm the only one left. A bearded, sloppy man staggered out of the protector palace of drunken Taichu. There were three gourds of different sizes and colors hanging from his waist. Drunken Taichu protector, one of the three protectors. He looked a little tipsy, as though he had yet to wake up from a drunken stupor. However, how could a great pinnacle universe master be truly drunk? His eyes narrowed into slits, and light shot out of them. His drunken, hoarse voice roared, reverberating throughout the 13 order palaces. Soon, three figures shot out from the 13 halls of order, landing outside the drunken guardian shrine. Greetings, Lord Drunk. 3 of the 13 order dimensional masters had come. Some of them were not in the order palace, while others were in seclusion. The 3 order dimensional masters all had different auras, but their powers were not weak. They were top-tier universe masters and were equivalent to the Hongmeng marshal in the army. Every single one of them possessed great attainments in the Hongji lineage. As a member of the Taichu Inquisition, he naturally had the privilege of being able to comprehend the Hongmeng nomological laws up close. However, luck and fortune were one thing, and personal ability was another. It was not as if one would be able to comprehend the 6th or 7th order Hongmeng nomological laws just because they were given the opportunity. He needed time, experience, comprehension, and opportunity. The 3 of you, go and capture Lin Feng for me. The drunken guardian god's face was slightly red, and he seemed to be both drunk and sober. He took out a purple gourd from his waist and gulped down wine. He wiped the wine stains from the corner of his mouth with his hairy hand, clearly enjoying himself. Although the drunken guardian god's words were vague, he had already transmitted the message from the will of heaven to the 3 order dimensional masters. Although the drunken guardian god did not understand how this Lin Feng, who had appeared out of nowhere, had angered the will of heaven, a mere Yuan venerate like him, the guardian god did not need to personally take action. He would slack off if he could. Lin Feng. The 3 order dimensional masters looked at each other in dismay. The drunken guardian god drank and sang all day and did not even take a step out of the palace. Naturally, he did not know where Lin Feng had come from, what his identity was, or how much of shock he had caused in the Taichu. However, they knew. They knew it all too well. Lin Feng's reputation in the Taichu was much greater than that of ordinary universe rulers. What? You can't even handle a mere Yuan venerate? The drunken guardian god drank and did not even look at the 3 order dimensional masters. However, their reactions could not escape the drunken guardian god's observation. Although the drunken guardian god did not know where Lin Feng came from, the will of heaven had not transmitted any information to them for a long time. This meant that Lin Feng was definitely not an ordinary person. No, the beacon guardian god replied. Your subordinate will do his best. The guardian god, Archie, shouted and gave a look to the other 2 order dimensional masters beside him. The beacon guardian god and the ice dragon guardian god also bowed their heads in acknowledgement. Very well. The drunken protector god turned around, took a sip of wine, and staggered into the guardian temple. The 3 order dimensional masters were left behind with awkward looks on their faces. What should we do? The ice dragon guardian god asked with a headache. Lin Feng is very famous in the Taichu. If we deal with him, we will probably be hated by everyone. What can we do? We can only bite the bullet. The guardian god, Archie, glanced at the drunken guardian palace fearfully. It's not like you don't know Lord Drunken's methods. Instead of getting beaten up, we might as well take a gamble. After all, the order was given by Lord Drunken. It has nothing to do with us. The beacon guardian god looked at the other 2 order dimensional masters. Actually, aren't you thinking too much? The first problem we have to solve should be, can the 3 of us deal with Lin Feng? Emperor Star Domain, Emperor Star. Lin Feng had just absorbed the energy of the Golden Heart Stone, broken the shackles of his will, and angered the will of heaven. The rise and transformation of his will caused Lin Feng's entire being to be reborn, and he looked completely new. This was very important. Whether it was transforming the Hongmeng essence body, or taking over the Taichu origin chaotic universe. The will of a world lord was necessary. I originally planned to absorb the Hongming essence body and reach the world lord level before thinking of a way to break through the will of heaven. I didn't expect it to happen so easily. Lin Feng was very satisfied. The materialization of the will was equivalent to giving the inner universe a soul. It was equivalent to the Taichu origin chaotic universe having a complete and independent will of heaven that could maintain the Taichu order. Although the side effects were quite big, causing the will of heaven to be angry and suppress it, Lin Feng was already mentally prepared for this. Even if the Taichu will of heaven didn't appear now and didn't resist, it would come sooner or later. It was better to come early than late. He had to face it sooner or later. They will probably send the experts of the Taichu Inquisition to deal with me, right? Lin Feng smiled and didn't care. He already knew what the Inquisition was like. What was there to be afraid of? Without strength, he should be afraid. If it was before entering the Milieu Tuor realm, he might have to hide and be careful when facing the Taichu Inquisition. But now it didn't matter. According to the first marshal, now that all the ultimate universe masters in the Taichu territory have left with Fan Zhu, and the Pope of the Taichu Inquisition is not around, the strongest are only the three protectors, who have the same combat power as the Bug Race commander. Come here. You can spar with me. As for the 13 Order Dimensional Masters and the weaker Grand Priests, Lin Feng smiled and continued to cultivate. Chapter 3098. Taichu Inquisition, Drunken Guardian Temple. Drunkard was snoring with his eyes closed. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat, and he woke up with a grunt. He frowned slightly, and his figure flashed to the outside of the Guardian Shrine. What's going on? Drunken Guardian's voice was low and cold as he looked at the three Order Keepers. They were all injured and looked pale and weak. My lord, we are no match for him, the Beacon Keeper said softly. He is too strong. The Order Keeper, Archie said. My lord, please deal with Lin Feng personally. The Ice Hornless Order Keeper cupped his hands. Lost? The Drunken Guardian God was stunned. He knew the strength of the three Order Keepers very well. All of them had reached the 15th level of the Hongji Pagoda. The Archie Order Keeper was even close to reaching the 16th level. He also had many treasures and rich battle experience. The three of them couldn't even deal with a Yuan Venerate human. He defeated the three of you alone. Drunken Guardian God sounded angry. He was the Taichu Inquisition, and the three Order Keepers couldn't even defeat a Yuan Venerate human. How humiliating. The three Order Keepers nodded with grief and indignation on their faces. Lin Feng also said that the Taichu Inquisition was too weak and didn't even have a decent powerhouse. Yes, he looked down on us and told us to go back and tell my lord. Even if my lord. The Drunken Guardian God's eyes widened. What about me? The three Order Keepers looked at each other. The Beacon Keeper whispered. He said that my lord's reputation is undeserved. However, he is waiting for you in the Emperor's Star Domain. If you don't go, my lord, you're a coward. Puppy. The Order Keeper, Archie said. What coward? The Ice Hornless Order Keeper said. The Beacon Keeper glared at the other two Order Keepers. He clearly said that Lord Drunken Guardian is a coward. No, he said that Lord Drunken Guardian is a puppy. You are all wrong. I heard it very clearly. He said that Lord Drunken Guardian God. What a coward. Roar. Drunkard roared furiously, and his face was livid like a lion that had gone berserk. His originally sloppy and dispirited appearance had vanished in an instant, and it was as if he'd become a completely different person, causing his imposing aura to surge through the sky. You're going too far. You're the one with no balls. The Drunken Guardian deity was so angry that green smoke came out of its head. The green gourd on its waist instantly enlarged. Stepping on the green gourd, the Drunken Guardian deity flew like a flying sword and disappeared in an instant. Phew! Phew! The three Keepers of Order all let out a long sigh of relief and relaxed. The two of you are going too far. The Beacon City Master looked at Archie and the Ice Hornless Serpent, speechless. Don't go overboard. How could Lord Drunk fall for it? Archie, the Master of Order, said. That's right. Since it's a lie anyway, we might as well go a little overboard. The Ice Hornless Order Overseer said. Lord Drunkard is most afraid of provocation. As long as he is provoked, he will fly into a rage. I told you, this provocation will definitely work. Actually, isn't it wrong for us to do this? The Beacon City Order Overseer had a guilty look on his face. A wise man submits to the circumstances. The Archie Order Overseer was helpless. Lin Feng ascended to the 16th level of Hongming's dual-pole tower, proving that his power is genuine. The information from the army is very reliable. The bug commander was indeed killed by Lin Feng. Lin Feng definitely has the power of a pinnacle universe ruler. Just the three of us against him. Aren't we courting death? The Archie Order Overseer's eyes were filled with fear. You might not know this, but Lin Feng went on a killing spree in Luo Tua territory. The army calls him the nemesis of the Bug Clan. Single-handedly, he killed dozens of great yin bugs and hundreds of millions of normal bugs. How terrifying is it for him to single-handedly resolve the bug crisis? The Beacon City Order Overseer and the Ice Hornless Order Overseer went silent. Sitting in their positions, they knew many things. Lin Feng's reputation wasn't based on flattery. It was the real deal. Such a powerful being who had just resolved the bug crisis and whose hands were stained with blood, they really couldn't deal with him. Also, they didn't want to deal with him. If they lost, only death would await them. If they won, they would be condemned by history and despised by the masses. Since that was the case, they might as well throw this problem back to Sir Drunk and let him deal with it himself. Emperor Star Field, Emperor Star. Lin Feng wasn't in seclusion. Instead, he was quietly absorbing the energy of the Great Yin Bug Blackboard to nourish his Hongmeng Gold body. Every time he absorbed a bit of the Great Yin Bug Blackboard, his Hongmeng Gold body would grow a little bigger. It was simple, but the improvement was the fastest. Looking at the entire Tai Chu, only Lin Feng could absorb the Great Yin Bug Blackboard. A perfect internal universe had a unique advantage. Lin Feng absorbed the energy of the blackboard while refining the 100 million wheels 8-front formation diagram. It was the crystallization of 100 million wheels master's blood, sweat, and tears. Refining it now was naturally much faster than before, especially Lin Feng's willpower's transformation. It was like a strategically advantageous building that was already above the 100 million wheels 8-front formation diagram. This type of Hongmeng origin item had a spirit, just like Snow Jewel. Lin Feng was compatible with Snow Jewel, but not with the 100 million wheels 8-front formation diagram. Originally, the 100 million wheels 8-front formation diagram was only compatible with 100 million wheels master. Forcefully refining it required a lot of effort and time, and comprehending it wasn't easy either. But now, the 100 million wheels 8-front formation diagram had already acknowledged Lin Feng. With a strong willpower, cultivation would be twice as effective. Strange, why hasn't the Taichu Inquisition made a move until now? Lin Feng had been waiting. When his willpower broke through, the heavenly Daos will wanted to suppress him. Logically speaking, it should have sent an expert over, but until now, there had been no movement. It was very strange. It didn't seem like the heavenly Dao style. Lin Feng naturally didn't know that the three Order Enforcers were terrified. They had put on a good show for the drunken guardian god to see, delaying a lot of time. However, they didn't do anything wrong. If they really wanted to deal with Lin Feng, the three Order Enforcers wouldn't be able to escape. They were too weak. Mere top-tier universe masters were equivalent to the Miluo Tuar realm great yin worms. Yet they couldn't even withstand one move from Lin Feng. Lin Feng's comprehension of the Hongmeng laws alone had already reached the 16th level pinnacle universe master level. Complemented by the Hongmeng Gold body, he was even more domineering. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He stood up, and the corners of his mouth lifted slightly. I was just thinking about it, and here he is. The aura of a pinnacle universe master. Very strong. I wonder which of the three protectors it is? Lin Feng wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he was a little excited. This was the first time he was competing with a true pinnacle universe master, and it was also the first time he was crossing swords with the Taichu Inquisition. The drunken guardian god, the most mysterious of the three protectors. Lin Feng had already seen the newcomer. Stepping on the green gourd, he rushed over like a gust of wind. It was just that, why did he look like he was about to explode with rage? How did I offend him? Lin Feng was puzzled. Mobile version update website. M. Chapter 3099. The green gourd charged over from afar. Formless Hongmeng laws condensed as green light flashed. The drunken guardian god Speed had reached an extreme. Standing on the green gourd, his body seemed to have merged with this Hongmeng origin item. Level 7 Hongmeng Law, Speed Breaker, a true opponent. The moment the drunken guardian god attacked, Lin Feng knew that this was a super being on par with the first martial. Unlike the bug race, who only knew how to use themselves, the universe rulers of the Hongmeng Ocean were all good at using treasures, including Lin Feng himself. Clang! Snow Jewel was unsheathed, one of Lin Feng's 3 Hongmeng origin items. Compared to the Mountain Core World Avatar, Lin Feng's training and use of Snow Jewel was still at the most basic level. Although it was a Hongmeng origin item, it was still inferior to the Drunken Guardian God's Hongmeng origin item. Both its power and aura were suppressed. The green gourd was the Drunken Guardian God's weapon. It was perfectly compatible with the Hongmeng Law, Speed Breaker. As the guardian god of the Taichu Inquisition, the Drunken Guardian God's comprehension of the Hongmeng Law was naturally extremely strong. He was above Lin Feng, who had reached the 16th floor of the Hongmeng Pagoda tens of thousands of years ago. 2 of the 13 Order Dimensional Masters had also reached the 16th floor. Speed Breaker, Perfection, 5-fold Destruction. Lin Feng didn't passively defend. Snow Jewel condensed the power of the Golden Hongmeng and faced the drunken green gourd head-on. Defense wasn't Lin Feng's forte, so he couldn't block the Drunken Guardian God's thunderous attacks. Speed had a limit. The universe had a limit to its speed. The Hongmeng Ocean had a limit to its speed, Hongmeng Ocean. However, Speed Breaker didn't have a limit. It was to destroy the enemy's speed. It was a pure Hongmeng law of combat. Everyone's speed was equal, reaching the Hongmeng Ocean's limit. Using the Hongmeng law of Speed Breaker to destroy the enemy's speed by 10 times was equivalent to increasing one's own speed by 10 times. Reducing the opponent's speed by 100 times was equivalent to increasing one's own speed by 100 times. Reducing the opponent's speed by 10,000 times was equivalent to increasing one's own speed by 10,000 times. Boom! A head-on collision was like the collapse of the heavens and the earth. Both sides were blasted until their chi and blood surged, and they retreated continuously. Lin Feng could feel his speed being reduced, but his attack speed was not. Attack speed was an instantaneous burst. Unless the Drunken Guardian God's cultivation was strong enough to destroy the instantaneous burst of attack speed, there was no way to suppress it. If the Drunken Guardian God could even disrupt Lin Feng's attack speed, his cultivation would have long surpassed Lin Feng's. Even if he didn't use Speed Break, he could still easily kill Lin Feng. Hongmeng Metal Body. A Yuan Venerate actually has a Hongmeng metal body? The Drunken Protector was even more stunned than Lin Feng. He knew exactly how powerful Hongmeng's golden body was. It was the mark of a Tao Lord of Primordial Chaos. There was simply no way he could win against a perfect Hongmeng metal body. His internal universe isn't complete, and Hongmeng's golden body isn't even 10% full. The Drunken Protector God's judgment was excellent. He could tell Lin Feng's level of strength with just one strike. Even so, it was still terrifying enough. Below the Tao Lord of Primordial Chaos was the ultimate universe ruler. Lin Feng's strength and cultivation base were close to the ultimate universe ruler, which was the same level as Pope. If he wasn't a Yuan Venerate, there would be no need for him to fight this battle. It's no wonder those 3 cowards lost. The Drunken Protector God still didn't know that the 3 Order Masters had lied to him, but he didn't suspect anything. Based on the current situation, Lin Feng's strength could completely crush the 3 Order Masters. It was normal for them to lose. This was going to be a fierce battle, but the Drunken Protector God didn't care. He was confident that he could take down Lin Feng and complete the mission given to him by the Sky Great Path. His opponent was only a Yuan Venerate. Swish! The green gourd was like a green flying sword that emitted an emerald glow. It attacked Lin Feng again and again, its speed unbreakable. The Drunken Protector God still had the advantage in terms of taking the initiative to attack, by using the speed-breaking Hongming nomological laws. He relied on his own speed to increase his attack power to the extreme. However, Lin Feng's attacks weren't inferior either. Although the speed-breaking Hongming nomological laws were only at the 6th level, they could reach the Xiantian level when combined with the small world embodiment. In particular, Lin Feng's every attack was at least 5-level destruction, so his explosive power surpassed the drunken protector gods. Something's not right. His energy consumption should be greater than mine. Why is there no sign of him falling? After a series of attacks, the drunken protector god realized that something was wrong. Logically speaking, Lin Feng was in a passive state, so his energy consumption was greater than his. Lin Feng was only a Yuan Venerate. In terms of the size of his internal universe, the amount of energy stored in Hongming should be inferior to his. On the other hand, the drunken protector god's attacks focused on a single point and relied on his speed. There was almost no consumption at all, so every attack was clean and incisive. Instead, the drunken protector god's attacks were weakening first. Was Lin Feng forcefully holding on? The drunken protector god didn't think so. He frowned slightly. There's something strange about this kid. Whoosh! A purple gourd appeared in his hand. It was one of the drunken protector god's 3 gourds, and its aura complemented that of the green gourd. Both were Hongming source items. The purple and green auras blended together, and a hazy purple mist lingered around the drunken protector god's body and emitted a strong wine fragrance. This was the symbol of the drunken protector god, the purple wine gourd. Bang! The drunken protector god's aura suddenly erupted, and his face flushed red, as if he was drunk. The green gourd broke through speed once again and shot toward Lin Feng. However, its speed wasn't very fast this time, and it completely slowed down as it approached Lin Feng. It changed from a sprint to an explosion. Bang! The purple gourd shot out from the drunken protector god's hand and attacked Lin Feng. The purple mist condensed and was extremely powerful. Its attack power wasn't inferior to Lin Feng's golden Hongmeng power. Furthermore, the rich wine fragrance was like a fog that affected one's mind and will. The drunken protector god changed from one form of attack to another. The drunken protector god's attack style was extremely varied. The purple wine gourd's tyrannical attack, combined with the green gourd's agility and speed, allowed him to completely suppress Lin Feng. Close combat. The drunken protector god used his killer move. He no longer relied on the green gourd and the speed Hongmeng law. Finally willing to get close, Lin Feng was also helpless. The drunken protector god's attack style made it impossible for him to counterattack. It was like a flying sword, and he couldn't break through the speed Hongmeng law unless he used the Golden Soul Impact. However, Lin Feng didn't think that his current Golden Soul Impact could cause too much damage to the drunken protector god. However, it was different in close combat. What Lin Feng was best at and had the strongest offensive power was close combat. He could completely unleash his full strength. Great World Incarnation. Lin Feng, who had been passively taking a beating, instantly used his Great World Incarnation to lock the drunken protector god. The surrounding small world incarnations appeared like stars in the sky, and dark red engravings flashed. It was time to counterattack. Boom, 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 boom. Chapter 3100. Lin Feng had been hiding this move all along. An ordinary destruction attack and a destruction attack, led by the Great World Incarnation, were completely different. The difference in attack power was like heaven and earth, especially in the aspect of control. Although Hongming's golden body had been strengthened by a lot and Lin Feng's control had improved significantly, he was still unable to control more than 5 layers of destruction attacks. But with the Great World Incarnation as the lead, Lin Feng could control dozens of layers of destruction attacks. The difference in power was like heaven and earth. However, using the Great World Incarnation before wasn't very useful. Even if he could break through the Drunken Guardian God's attack, it didn't mean anything. His speed was too fast, and Lin Feng couldn't use the Great World Incarnation to lock him down. Although he couldn't do it now, it was undoubtedly a good opportunity to heavily injure him. Wow, the golden engravings moved continuously. Lin Feng didn't use Great Destruction. This was his trump card, and unless he had no other choice, Lin Feng wouldn't use it. At the crucial moment, This was a trump card that could heavily injure the enemy and save his life. Against the drunken guardian god, the 6th level Hongming's Law Destruction was enough. 10 layers of destruction. As soon as Lin Feng attacked, his attack was more than 10 times stronger than before. The difference between the power of the 5-fold annihilation and the power of the 10-fold annihilation wasn't just one time. With each additional layer, the power of the 5-fold annihilation would increase. The purple fermented wine gourd was extremely heavy, and its attack had its own special effects. But whether it was the purple mist or the wine fragrance, it had no effect on Lin Feng. The golden willpower controlled the internal universe, and the purple mist couldn't corrode it. The wine fragrance couldn't affect Lin Feng at all. The willpower of a world lord. Lin Feng's golden heart was only 47 times, which was still far from the level of a world lord, but his willpower was comparable. The great world incarnation's control made Lin Feng's internal universe as solid as a rock. He wasn't suppressed by the drunken guardian god's internal universe at all. You are still hiding your strength against me. The drunken guardian god. The drunken guardian god's expression changed. Lin Feng's sudden explosive attack was hard for him to resist. The purple mist coiled around his body, and his strength increased in all aspects. Coupled with the purple fermented wine gourd's attack, the drunken guardian god had absolute confidence in killing Lin Feng in close range. But things didn't go as planned. He went all out, but Lin Feng also revealed his trump card. Moreover, he was even more ruthless than him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The drunken guardian god stepped on the green gourd and dodged nimbly with exquisite speed. However, the huge restraining force coming from below also affected him. The faint golden light around him gave the drunken guardian god an ominous feeling. 20 layers of destruction. The power of the small world incarnation overlapped and exploded. The drunken guardian god was dizzy and vomited blood. Before the attack landed, the green gourd changed its direction and dodged Lin Feng's attack in a panic. But the next attack, boom! 30 layers of annihilation. Lin Feng's attack power was limitless. Time after time, the small world incarnation's power increased explosively. Hongming's energy accumulated and attacked the drunken guardian god. Lin Feng was like a frog being boiled in warm water. Step by step, he sealed off the drunken guardian god's escape route. Indeed, his green gourd was miraculous. It controlled the shattered Hongmeng laws, making it even harder to pursue. However, it was hard to say if the drunken guardian god was injured. Once the large world incarnation was restricted, the drunken guardian god wouldn't be able to escape easily even if his speed was reduced. Although it was difficult, Lin Feng still hoped that he could keep the drunken guardian god. If he could kill him, he would try his best. 40 layers of destruction. With each additional layer of destruction, more energy would gather. This required more time and control. Although Shao Chun had the great world incarnation as the main force, the eruption of energy was mainly based on the destruction saber technique, driven by the golden primordial energy. Boom! Lin Feng's attack was like a chain of all his previous attacks. The destruction saber art was self-contained. Although it wasn't an amazing saber art, it perfectly combined the destruction Hongmeng laws and the mountain core world incarnation. The upper limit wasn't high. However, the lower limit was enough to defeat the drunken guardian god. Fresh blood gushed out of the drunken guardian god's mouth as the armor on his body shattered. This was a Hongmeng source item that was even stronger than the ruler armor. Purple mist covered the surface of the drunken guardian god's body and helped him withstand a lot of damage. Even so, Lin Feng's series of attacks had still seriously injured the drunken guardian god. Too strong. Lin Feng's strength had completely exceeded the drunken guardian god's expectations. He had originally thought that a mere Yuan venerate's strength would be limited. Although Lin Feng's Hongmeng golden body had surprised the drunken guardian god, Lin Feng had only been able to resist his continuous attacks without being able to resist. The drunken guardian god had wanted to kill Lin Feng cleanly with the suppression of his internal universe. However, the one who had been suppressed and seriously injured was instead, it was him. Go! The purple mist was dense, and the fragrance of wine spread out. The speed of the green gourd instantly exploded to the extreme. The drunken guardian god was like a flying sword piercing through the sky as he directly pierced through the obstruction of the small world incarnation. Lin Feng's guess was right. The small world incarnation's defense couldn't trap the drunken guardian god. It was as easy as a flying sword piercing through a piece of paper. Stay. Lin Feng was already prepared. His eyes lit up as the golden rays of the small world incarnation formed a line. In an instant, the small world incarnation shrank and contracted rapidly. The power of the golden Hongmeng triggered the level 7 Hongmeng nomological laws and was about to erupt. Great destruction? The drunken guardian god's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. As one of the 3 guardian gods of the Taichu Inquisition, he was very familiar with the Hongmeng nomological laws. When Lin Feng used the annihilation Hongmeng nomological laws, he had already estimated whether Lin Feng had comprehended the annihilation nomological laws. After all, the annihilation Hongmeng nomological laws and the annihilation Hongmeng nomological laws had a ladder relationship. The only difference was that one was level 6, while the other was level 7. He didn't expect his ominous premonition to come true. Lin Feng really did cultivate the annihilation Hongmeng nomological laws, and they were perfectly compatible with his treasure. Didn't that mean the golden engravings were flickering with the mysteries of the annihilation nomological laws? Although the drunken guardian god didn't cultivate the annihilation nomological laws, he was familiar with the Hongmeng nomological laws and naturally knew about them. Unfortunately, knowing about it was one thing, and being able to resist it was another. I will be back. The drunken guardian god's furious and unwilling voice came from the void like thunder. The third white gourd at his waist suddenly released a cloud of white mist, sucking the drunken guardian god into the white gourd. Boom! Lin Feng raised his hand, and the small world incarnation exploded with the power of the annihilation nomological laws. Crack! Bang! The white gourd shattered in the blink of an eye, and then was destroyed by the terrifying explosion. However, the drunken guardian god had already disappeared without a trace. Escaped? Or is he dead? Lin Feng wasn't sure. Perhaps the former was more likely, but even if he escaped, Lin Feng didn't care. If he could defeat him once, he could defeat him a second time and a third time. After using a life-saving treasure, the drunken guardian god wouldn't be able to protect himself the next time they met. Moreover, he wouldn't give him another chance. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3101. The Taichu Inquisition. Has Lord Drunk returned? The Ice Dragon Order Master asked. Yes, I saw Lord Drunk with my own eyes just now. His breathing was weak, and his expression was terrible. His injuries were very serious. The Wind Beacon Order Master's face turned serious. Furthermore, the white pellet gourd on Lord Drunk's waist is gone. What? The Ice Dragon Order Master and Archie were shocked. The white pellet gourd that Pope gave to Lord Drunk to save his life is gone. Are you sure, Wind Beacon? It's absolutely true. The Wind Beacon Order Master said solemnly, if I'm not wrong, Lord Drunk suffered a crushing defeat in this battle. The next time we see him, we'll know if he only has 2 gourds on his waist. The Ice Dragon Order Master sighed. If that's true, then Lin Feng is too scary. The Archie Order Master said, this means that our choice was right. Even Lord Drunk was seriously injured. If we want to capture Lin Feng, we definitely wouldn't be able to return. The atmosphere froze in an instant. The 3 Masters of Order were secretly glad that they were lucky, but they were also shocked by Lin Feng's tyrannical strength. Although they already knew that Lin Feng was very strong, he was only a Yuan Venerate after all. The 3 Masters of Order were still a little skeptical. However, now that the truth was right in front of them, they had no choice but to believe it. Lin Feng was really strong, unprecedentedly strong. This is a message from the Heavenly Tao. This matter will definitely not end like this. The Ice Dragon Order Master touched his forehead and frowned. It will definitely punish Lin Feng. The Archie Order Master said, the 3 Guardian Gods are about the same in strength. The Guardian God of Sword is the strongest and cultivates the Slaughter Tao. However, he might not be able to defeat Lin Feng. The problem is that the Sword Killer and Candlelight left with Pope. We don't have anyone stronger than Lord Drunk, the Wind Beacon Order Master said. The Archie Ordermaster pondered. We can only ask the other 4 superpowers for help. The army definitely won't help. The Joe Corporation has always been neutral, so they probably won't get involved in this mess. The Ice Hornless Order Enforcer said, the Dao Yin Palace cherishes its reputation. Lin Feng's reputation is well known. Killing Lin Feng is equivalent to ruining his reputation. The only possibility is the Heavenly Swamp Alliance. Feng Yi Order Master smiled bitterly. But Heavenly Pool Alliance is the same as us. Even the Ultimate Universe rulers have left, right? Archie, the Master of Order, laughed out loud. There was a hint of bitterness in his smile. Regardless of whether it works or not, we still have to try. Yes, they had all left. Who else could deal with Lin Feng now? The various superpowers did indeed have Pinnacle Universe Masters, but how many of them were stronger than Master Drunk? Even if they were stronger than Master Drunk, would they be able to kill Lin Feng? There was really nothing he could do now. Furthermore, he was helpless against the Yuan Venerate. The Taichu Inquisition, one of the 5 superpowers, was indeed a bit embarrassing. Milieu to our realm. The Taichu Inquisition wants us to help them kill Lin Feng. The First Marshal answered the call with a frown. Why are they acting crazy for no reason? I don't know. Marshal Wuli Hongming was seriously injured and had stayed behind to protect Star Wheel. He was currently in charge of the operations of the army in Taichu. What else did they say? Intuition told the First Marshal that things were not so simple. The Taichu Inquisition knew Lin Feng's strength, and they had more great beings than the army. They also knew that the army had a close relationship with Lin Feng. Marshal Wuli Hongming replied. They said that this is an order from the will of heaven. They hope that we can cooperate and that they will reward us handsomely after the mission is completed. An order from the will of heaven? The First Marshal's expression was cold. After thinking for a long time, he said, tell them that if they want to deal with Lin Feng, they can do it themselves. Our army will not participate. Also, we are willing to protect the Taichu. We are not puppets of the will of heaven. Yes, sir, Marshal Wuli Hongming replied. A bunch of idiots who only know how to fish for fame. The First Marshal turned off the call and looked at them with disdain. What do you think our army is? To deal with Lin Feng? Also, is Lin Feng so easy to deal with? Of course. As one of the rulers of the universe closest to Lin Feng, the First Marshal knew Lin Feng's strength very well. He was able to kill the commander of the Zergs. Even the First Marshal himself was not confident that he could win against Lin Feng. If I'm not wrong, the Taichu Inquisition must have already made their move. They might have already failed. The First Marshal analyzed carefully and said in a low voice, the one who made the move should be the drunken guardian god of the Taichu Inquisition. That is why they are at their wits' end and are asking for help from us. The First Marshal frowned slightly and thought to himself, since they even contacted us, the Geo Corporation, Dao Yin Palace, Tian's Alliance, and the Taichu Inquisition must have contacted them. Oh, after turning on his communicator, the First Marshal immediately contacted Lin Feng. Lin Feng's voice appeared in his mind. The First Marshal smiled in relief. Did anything happen, Lin Feng? Thank you, Marshal, Lin Feng said with a smile. He could roughly guess why the First Marshal wanted to contact him. Do you need help? The First Marshal said directly, we are on the same side. You don't have to be polite. As long as you say the word, the army will support you. No one can touch you. Lin Feng felt warmth in his heart. Don't worry, Marshal. I can handle it. The First Marshal didn't ask anything and directly stated his stance. Lin Feng was touched. He understood the First Marshal's style. He knew that the First Marshal was a man of steel. He wouldn't play any tricks or beat around the bush. Since the First Marshal said this, that was what he meant. Okay, the First Marshal said. If you need anything, just tell us. Don't be afraid of trouble. In Milieu to our realm, we fought side by side. We are brothers who went through thick and thin together. If something happens to you, the army won't ignore it. Thank you, Marshal, Lin Feng said gratefully. Lin Feng was grateful for the First Marshal's complete trust and support. However, this was his own matter and his own decision. There was no need to divert the fire elsewhere. Plus, the army had more important things to do now. I wonder who will come next? Lin Feng really wanted to know. Since the Taichu Inquisition had contacted the army, the other three super factions and some independent universe rulers must have contacted them too. It was impossible for them to give up. Or should I just kill my way to the Taichu Inquisition? Lin Feng thought about this before. However, doing so would be too flashy. Unless he was as strong as Fan Zhu, it was better for him to keep a low profile for now. If the Taichu Inquisition sent someone strong, he would accept the challenge. If it didn't come, he would cultivate. Anyway, whether he could win or not, he was in an undefeatable position. What was there to be afraid of? I'll just treat it as training. Lin Feng was in a good mood. He continued to absorb the big yin insect. Chapter 3102. Even the army received the news of the Taichu Inquisition. The Dalian Palace, the Sky Swamp Alliance, and the Geo Corporation naturally received it too. However, they were not as decisive as the first marshal and rejected it directly. The relationship between the three forces and Lin Feng was different from the relationship between the army and the three forces. What do you think? The Dalian Palace's Wenxin Heavenly Holy Man looked at the other two. The Sky Swamp Alliance's Shalumo and the Geo Corporation's Moonlight were silent. Their positions in their respective forces were equivalent to that of the first marshal. After Fan Zhu and the other Ultimate Universe rulers left the Taichu, the various forces naturally had their own decision-makers to deal with matters. Especially when the insect plague had not yet been quelled, the Taichu situation was not stable. The Sky Swamp Alliance will not participate. Shalumo expressed his stance first. Why? Moonlight was curious. Shalumo said, firstly, the Sky Swamp Alliance owes Lin Feng a favor for the battle of the 15th universe. Secondly, the Sky Swamp Alliance does not lack the favor of the Taichu Inquisition. Thirdly, I cannot find a reason to deal with Lin Feng. The Wenxin Heavenly Holy Man said, but according to the Taichu Inquisition, killing Lin Feng is an order from the Heavenly Way. Shalumo's expression was cold. What does the Heavenly Way have to do with the Sky Swamp Alliance? If you want to help, then go ahead. After all, the Sky Swamp Alliance will not participate and will not object. Moonlight smiled. If that's the case, we will not participate either. We will wait and see. The Wenxin Heavenly Holy Man shook his head helplessly. If all of you do not participate, then the Dalian Palace will be unnecessary. Lin Feng's prestige in the Taichu is so high. If we help the Taichu Inquisition deal with him, our reputation will be tarnished. Shalumo looked at the two and said, since you have decided, then answer the Taichu Inquisition. Okay. Moonlight and the Wenxin Heavenly Holy Man replied. The three figures disappeared instantly. Although they were different from the army, the disadvantages of dealing with Lin Feng far outweighed the advantages. The Taichu Inquisition failed, the Order Master said. Moonlight also replied. The Order Master shook his head. Same. The Icehorn Dragon Order Overseer said. It's about time for them to reply. The three of them must have already discussed and decided to advance and retreat together. Actually, even if they were willing to help, they might not be able to kill Lin Feng. The Master of Order, Archie, said. The Master and Order Master of Order Master and Order Master. Master. Presently, Absolute Beginning really did not have many who could deal with Lin Feng. What do we do next? Master of Order Ice Order Master asked. We've done what we can. Master Archie's expression was calm. When Master Drunken recovers, he'll take charge. Emperor Starfield, Emperor Star. Big brother, the Taichu Inquisition seems to have lost. Sherwanli asked. They won't give up so quickly, and they won't. Lin Feng said, it's just that the other four superpowers won't help. They don't have a universe master stronger than the Drunken Protector, so they can't find fault with them. Hee. Sherwanli raised his eyebrows. If he doesn't come to us, why don't we go and meet him? Lin Feng said, what's the point of wasting time? Even if we flatten the Taichu Inquisition, it won't do us any good. Instead, it'll make the other four superpowers wary, and it might even draw the Pope out. Big brother, can you beat the Pope now? Sherwanli asked curiously. Lin Feng shook his head. I don't think so. I'm almost there. Is that so? Sherwanli felt a little regretful. If Big Brother Lin Feng wasn't even afraid of the Pope, then the Taichu Inquisition was nothing to be afraid of. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. Although I might not be able to beat him, it'll be a fierce battle. It's still unknown who will win. He might not be able to kill me, and I might not be able to kill him. I don't understand. Shi Wanli tilted his head and thought for a long time. He still didn't understand. Lin Feng didn't explain further. Pope was an ultimate universe master, and there was no doubt about his strength. In terms of strength, he could crush him, including the Mountain Core World Avatar. His internal universe was restrained, so there was no way he could win. But if it was a life-and-death battle, he could use the Great Destruction to destroy everything. The result was unpredictable. The power of the Great Destruction was terrifying, especially since he had entered the elementary source realm. His Mountain Core World Avatar was full of energy. He had the Taichu's most powerful bomb, so there was nothing to be afraid of. But unless there was no other choice, Lin Feng wouldn't do that. Cultivation. Although Lin Feng didn't plan to raise the Taichu Divine Inquisition to the ground, he couldn't delay in increasing his strength. As the black plate of big yin insects was absorbed, Lin Feng's Hongming golden body gradually grew stronger. His willpower transformed into a golden willpower, which spread throughout his internal universe and reached the level of a world lord. Lin Feng's physical body had reached 100 times the golden body of the universe, and his soul spirit had reached 100 times the golden soul of the universe. The golden heart of the universe had also surpassed 50 times in the process of absorbing the big yin insect. Lin Feng was very close to the strongest primordial body of the Tao of Ming. His gains from the battle with the insectoids had all turned into battle power. After absorbing the black plate, Lin Feng's Hongming golden body reached 20% saturation. It was huge. It had taken hundreds of millions of eras for the primal chaos Tao lore to strengthen the Hongming golden body to 100% saturation. But Lin Feng had reached 20% saturation in just 100 eras. His efficiency was very high. In terms of Hongming golden body strength, Lin Feng had reached the ultimate universe ruler level. However, the remaining 80% wasn't so easy. After that, he challenged the 16th level of the Meng Ji Tower and successfully passed it, but he was still some distance away from the 17th level. Lin Feng focused more on the two Hongmeng ruler source items because they could directly improve his battle power. His basic abilities in all aspects were close to a bottleneck. Even the Universe Golden Heart had a lot of room for improvement, but it couldn't be helped. As for strengthening the Hongmeng Golden Body, he needed the bottomless Hongmeng Source Crystals. All of these required supreme treasures. Where could he get them? The Yuan venerates Investiture of the Gods. Lin Feng had completely thrown the Taichu Inquisition to the back of his mind and focused all his energy on improving his battle power. He was preparing to challenge the Yuan venerates Investiture of the Gods. He wanted to challenge himself and obtain treasures. In particular, Lin Feng wanted to challenge the invincible Hongmeng, see Emperor Guhuang's record, and become the first cultivator to dethrone him. He also wanted to accomplish a feat that even Emperor Guhuang hadn't been able to accomplish. He wanted to sweep through the Yuan venerates Investiture of the Gods. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3103. There were a total of 21 divine generals on the Yuan venerate Investiture God list. This was the sum of the divine generals on the Investiture God list that Huang Zun and the divine venerate had. Furthermore, the strength of a Yuan venerate was already very close to that of an almighty. Their internal universe was about to be completed, so the difficulty of the challenge would increase greatly. Even the unrivaled Emperor Guhuang of the Hongmeng Sea had not been able to sweep through the Yuan venerate Investiture God list. Among the 21 immortal generals, one of them was Empty, the Myriad Bones Emperor. The other two were the only ones on the Investiture God list. This meant that only one Yuan venerate cultivator had ever defeated them. One could imagine how difficult it would be compared to Huang Zun's Investiture God list and the divine venerate's Investiture God list. The greater the difficulty, the greater the reward. After returning to the Emperor's Starfield for dozens of eras, Lin Feng had gone into seclusion to cultivate and finally started the challenge. Although he had no need for Hongmeng source materials now, he had great needs in other aspects. A large amount of resources could be exchanged for Hongmeng source crystals to strengthen the Hongmeng metal body. Currently, the Hongmeng metal body was only 20% complete. Even though its power had reached the ultimate universe ruler level, there was still a lot of room for improvement. Reaching 100% completion would not only allow one's combat strength to reach a higher level, but it would also increase one's chances of breaking through to the Hongmeng origin body. Energy would not be wasted. 100% of the Hongmeng metal body's energy would be transformed into the Hongmeng origin body. If it was only 20%, it would not be able to complete a stable transformation, and the energy would be much less when it was transformed into the Hongmeng origin body. Sometimes, perfection was very important in cultivation, because perfection was the only way to truly unleash one's power. In addition to the large amount of pure Hongmeng source crystal energy required for the Hongmeng metal body, his universe metal core also needed to be strengthened. Currently, it was only 52 times, so it was still halfway to 100 times. Unlike the Hongmeng metal body, the universe metal core reaching the limit of 100 times was a necessary condition for the transformation of the Hongmeng origin body. In terms of priority, it was higher than the Hongmeng metal body. There should be treasures in Taichu that can strengthen one's willpower and increase one's golden heart. I'll ask the first marshal when the time comes. Lin Feng wasn't worried about this. The most important thing now was he was poor. Lin Feng, who had never worried about cultivation resources, was indeed unable to make bricks without straws. Because he'd obtained the legacy of the Wheel Lord, he'd been happy for a period of time. But things were different now. The cultivation of 100,000 Will Masters also required resources and treasures. Right now, his strength was about the same as that of the Wheel Master 100 million, or perhaps even stronger. Lin Feng himself was even stronger than the Wheel Lord of the 100 million wheels. Back then, 100 million Will Master had been a top-tier universe master, and his enormous wealth was more than enough for Lin Feng and Shi Wanli. But now, how could the wealth of a top-tier universe master be enough to support two cultivators who were stronger than him? What a bottomless pit. Lin Feng sighed. If he hadn't quelled the insect plague, he would probably be worrying about daily necessities. Besides resources, he needed to make breakthroughs in all other aspects, especially his blade techniques and spirit shock. Although the Mountain Core World incarnation was indeed very strong, Lin Feng still felt that it was inappropriate to use the Annihilation Blade technique to support the Mountain Core World incarnation. The battle against the bug race was a stopgap measure. Now that he had time, he should create new blade techniques. Spirit shock was also one aspect that Lin Feng was very good at. This was because Lin Feng's soul was very strong and had reached the limit of 100 times his golden soul. This was equivalent to an ultimate universe master, and his willpower was comparable to a world master's. If his spirit shock was strong enough, he would have been able to kill the drunken guardian deity in that battle. Spirit shock could kill without spilling blood. Both were very important. Emperor Guhuang. Lin Feng stepped into the first space of the Yuan Venerate's investiture of the gods. Guhuang was still at the top of the investiture of the gods. There were many familiar names below him, such as Qianqiu Shui, Amon, Wu Dao, and so on. These people were still active in the Hongmeng Sea and had illustrious reputations. In addition to them, other powerhouses had also risen and occupied a place on the Yuan Venerate's investiture of the gods. Not every powerhouse had been strong since they were Venerates and had been invincible all the way. Most cultivators had started to show their edge when they were Yuan Venerates and had exploded when they became Almighties. However, they were still nameless when they were Yuan Venerates and only exploded when they became Almighties. Generally, their achievements were limited. After all, becoming an Almighty meant that the internal universe was formed and it would be difficult to change it. Elegant gentlemen, fortune makes a fool of men. Fan Jichu. Lin Feng quickly found the names of the other three world masters. They had only been Yuan Venerates when they had challenged the investiture of the gods. They had only shown their talents when they were Yuan Venerates and exploded when they became Almighties before breaking through to become universe masters and becoming world masters. The Yuan Venerate was recognized as the most important period. This was true for the 5 world masters and it was also true for Lin Feng. I should be a little stronger than they were when they were Yuan Venerates. Lin Feng wanted to know his current strength and where he would rank on the Yuan Venerates Investiture of the Gods. Lin Feng was very interested in challenging the Yuan Venerates Investiture of the Gods, which was a gathering of outstanding heroes. Besides the 5 world masters, the powerhouses whose strength had reached the ultimate universe master level were also on the list. For example, the Taichu's War God and Pope, the Sky Swamp Alliance's leader Sky Swamp, and so on. The competition on the Yuan Venerates Investiture of the Gods was the most intense. Hungry Wild Beast. Lin Feng stepped into this wild and bloody investiture of the gods. This was the first challenge by a Yuan Venerate Divine General. The desolate and dilapidated environment seemed to have been completely destroyed by this hungry wild beast. The air was filled with an unpleasant stench. This was an innate life form that had been born in the Hongmeng Sea and was somewhat similar to the bug race. It was born hungry, as if it could never be full and liked to eat everything. However, the bug race absorbed the energy of the universe, while the hungry wild beast did not. It was just hungry. After being defeated, it entered the investiture of the gods and became one of the 108 investiture of the gods. Roar. The thick stench was accompanied by a thunderous roar. Lin Feng's battle blade, Snow Jewel, shone brightly. He did not even use his small world embodiment. His obliteration blade technique condensed the power of the Golden Hongmeng and was swung out directly. Chi. The power of the Golden Hongmeng erupted instantly as the obliteration blade technique killed the hungry wild beast without any suspense. Then, it turned into a beam of white light and disappeared from the investiture of the gods. Too weak. It only had the strength of an ordinary universe master. For the current Lin Feng, he did not even need to use his small world embodiment. Whoosh! Lin Feng exited the investiture god space. 3 rewards appeared in front of him. On the left was a primordial origin item, and it was definitely a replica of the primordial origin item that the god general had. The primordial origin item that the hungry wild beast had on him was the only piece of black armor. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't choose it. On the right was the cultivation category. As a sentient life form, the hungry wild beast's offensive talents were also not what Lin Feng needed. Only the luck option in the middle could be chosen. Lin Feng made his choice, but his luck was average. Lin Feng did not really care. After all, the rewards for being the first divine general on the investiture of the gods were limited. Let's see the rankings. This was what Lin Feng was most interested in. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3104. 19. Lin Feng was slightly taken aback. His ranking was lower than expected. However, Lin Feng understood after thinking about it. It didn't mean that the Yuan Venerates ranked above him were stronger than him. It was just that they had performed better than him in this battle against the hungry wild beast. The hungry wild beast was only an ordinary universe ruler, so there were naturally many Yuan Venerates who could kill it instantly. Of course, this referred to all the Yuan Venerates in the Hongmeng Sea. Everyone had killed the hungry wild beast in an instant. The criteria were basically based on the speed, method, difficulty, and so on. For example, if a Yuan Venerate killed the hungry wild beast directly with his soul, his ranking would naturally be higher than Lin Feng's. Furthermore, Lin Feng hadn't even used 10% of his strength in this battle. Continue. The other rankings didn't mean much if he couldn't get first place. This was just the beginning of the 21 Yuan Venerate Divine Generals. As the Divine Generals got stronger, Lin Feng's ranking would naturally rise. Furthermore, the ranking wouldn't affect the rewards. Second battle, 17th place. Third battle, 16th place. Fourth battle, 13th place. Fifth battle, 14th place. Lin Feng had overcome all the difficulties along the way, but he still hadn't entered the top 10. The competition was rather intense. After the 7th battle, the strength of the Divine Generals underwent a transformation and reached the level of a top-notch universe ruler. Lin Feng also entered the top 10 for the first time. It wasn't easy to defeat a top-notch universe ruler, and it was even more difficult to kill one instantly. 8th battle, 8th place. 9th battle, 9th place. 10th battle, 7th place. 11th battle, 8th place. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the Yuan Venerate sealed god challenges had been completed. Lin Feng encountered the start of the harsh test. The 12th battle, Divine General Yu Shui, was very strange. His flexible and shapeless body was like water and didn't suffer any damage. His defensive ability was astonishing, and his strength had reached the level of a top-notch universe ruler. This is probably a nightmare for cultivators with strong, close combat abilities. Lin Feng didn't think that cultivators with strong, close combat abilities wouldn't be able to deal with Divine General Yu Shui. His defense was special, but it wasn't invincible. When his offensive power reached a certain level, he could completely destroy Divine General Yu Shui. Apocalypse. Lin Feng did not use his full strength. Against the Divine General Yu Shui, the concentrated explosion of the Great Destruction was the most suitable. Although his defense was unique, the range of the explosion was indiscriminate, and the destruction of energy was the perfect counter. 3. Tai Yi, Elegant Gentleman. 4. Tai Chu Lin Feng. 5. Tai Chu Fanji Chu. I was lucky enough to enter the top 4. Lin Feng couldn't help but chuckle when he saw Fan Zhu behind him. This was the first time he had surpassed Fan Zhu on the Yuan Venerate Investiture God list. The elegant gentleman in front of him was one of the 5 Great Realms Masters, the primal chaos Dao Lord of Tai, a transcendent being who possessed the Hongming golden body just like him. He had only erupted when he was a Yuan Venerate. In the 13th round, he was ranked 6th. 14th round, 5th place. 15th round, 5th place. For 4 consecutive matches, his opponents were all Pinnacle Universe Masters, and every one of them was at the level of the first Martial or Drunken Protector. Especially in the 14th and 15th matches, his opponents were even more powerful than Drunken Protector God. Lin Feng's Investiture God list was steadily rising. On the contrary, the number of Investiture Gods for each Godly General was gradually decreasing. The first 6 Godly Generals are Ordinary Universe Masters, the next 5 are Top-Tier Universe Masters, and the next 4 are Pinnacle Universe Masters. Next up should be Ultimate Universe Masters. Lin Feng shuddered inwardly. After the 15th Godly General, there were still 24 Investiture Gods. However, after the 16th Godly General, there were only a few Investiture Gods left. Great Lich Ether. If Lin Feng had been fighting Drunken Protector God, he wouldn't have challenged Great Lich Ether. The strength of an Ultimate Universe Master wasn't something he could contend against. However, Lin Feng had cultivated for dozens of eras. Not only had he developed and strengthened the abilities of Snow Jewel, but he had also mastered Hongming's origin item, the 100 Million Wheels 8 front formation. The Great World embodiment protected him, and the 100 Million Wheels 8 front formation controlled his attacks. At the very least, Lin Feng's internal universe wouldn't be suppressed in a battle against an Ultimate Universe Master. This was very important. Once his internal universe was suppressed, he wouldn't be able to unleash his strength, no matter how strong he was. Let's give it a try. Lin Feng smiled as he stepped in a Great Lich Ether's Investiture God space. Although he wasn't confident, he was at least qualified to fight now. In the chaotic universe of the Taichu origin, Lin Feng's challenge to the Yuan Venerate Investiture of the Gods was clearly seen by every onlooker. Lin Feng, who had even ascended Hongming's dual pole pagoda, naturally received a lot of attention when he challenged the Yuan Venerate Investiture of the Gods. The older generation of Taichu cultivators viewed Fan Zhu as their idol and the big shots of the various superpowers as their goal. However, the younger generation of Taichu cultivators only recognized Lin Feng. Lin Feng was young, vigorous, and had come from his own universe. He didn't have any outstanding teacher. Everything he had now was obtained by himself, step by step, with his own hands. Lin Feng had gone from being unknown to being famous in the Taichu. There were too many halos and characteristics around him. Impressive. Yeah, he won again. Well done. Well done. I told you that Senior Lin Feng would definitely be able to squeeze into the top 10, but no one believed me. Yeah, Senior Lin Feng was just showing off in the first few battles. The real competition starts with the 12th Divine General. Senior Lin Feng defeated the Ultimate God Investiture of the Gods and defeated the Thousand Blood Empress. How could he lose to a Yuan Venerate on the investiture of the gods? Awesome. The most troublesome divine, General Yu Shui, has also been eliminated. Senior Lin Feng has finally made it into the top 5. Impressive. These are all pinnacle universe rulers. Senior Lin Feng is only a Yuan Venerate, yet he could defeat them one by one. When will I be 1/10 as good as Senior Lin Feng? Every time Lin Feng won a match, it would raise everyone's spirits. Every Taichu cultivator felt honored. This was their pride. This was the pride of the Taichu. Although there were all kinds of jealous and sarcastic remarks, they were in the minority and were quickly drowned out by endless praise and expectations. It's the 16th battle. Senior Lin Feng is really impressive. He defeated 15 divine generals in a row. However, the difficulty of the 16th battle has increased dramatically. Great Lich Ether is an ultimate universe ruler. The difference in strength is a little too big. Even if it's Senior Lin Feng, I'm afraid the Taichu cultivators were worried. Great Lich Ether's strength was on the other side, and there were only a few investiture of the gods. The difficulty was obvious. It doesn't matter. If he can't win this time, there's always the next time. Yeah, Senior Lin Feng has won 15 battles in a row. He's already very strong. It's only a matter of time before he defeats Great Lich Ether. I think so too. Great Lich Ether definitely won't be able to stop Senior Lin Feng. Even if he can't win this time, he will definitely win the next time. Senior Lin Feng's cultivation speed is unparalleled in the Taichu. He can win at least 3 more battles on the investiture of the gods. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3105. Great Lich Ether. Lin Feng stepped into the sealed god space. It was dark and gloomy. From time to time, he could hear the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves. The air was filled with the stench of rotting corpses. Even the air was sticky. Pung. Lin Feng immediately used his Great World Avatar to fight against an ultimate universe master. Furthermore, they were in his territory, so any mistake would be fatal. There wasn't much information about Great Lich Ether because there were only a handful of cultivators who could challenge him. However, Lin Feng knew that Great Lich Ether was following the path of Meng-Ji, the path of soul. Any cultivator who followed the path of Meng-Ji would become an ultimate universe master. If they followed the path of strength and body, they would have a super universe body. If they followed the path of soul and soul, they would have a super universe soul and an endless soul. It was rare. Cultivators who followed the path of Meng-Ji and soul would have fewer cultivators than those who followed the path of strength and body because the probability of death was too high. Na-na, na-na-na-na. Amidst the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves, there was a sudden burst of creepy laughter. It was like the laughter of a female ghost. Every sound contained an impact on one's soul and willpower. If it were an ordinary great being, this terrifying laughter would be enough to destroy them. Hoo-chee! Hoo-chee! The wind rustled the grass. Suddenly, 2 pitch-black figures appeared in the gloomy world. They merged perfectly with the darkness. Their terrifying power was no less than that of the field-hungry beast that Lin Feng had defeated in the first round. They were powerful and domineering, destroying everything. Slaves? Or puppets? Lin Feng thought. In an instant, the 2 small world avatars grabbed the 2 pitch-black figures. The dark red engraving shone, and the Hongmeng Law of Destruction burst out instantly. Pung! Pung! The 2 pitch-black figures were blasted into pieces. However, the next moment, 4 more pitch-black figures appeared. They flew in from 4 different directions. They had the same aura and the same domineering aura. They had the attack power of a universe master, and their eyes were cold and merciless. Puppet technique. This time, Lin Feng could clearly see the pitch-black figures. Their bodies were wrapped in a strange black cloth. They were tightly wrapped, and the black cloth flashed with a hidden luster, as if it was the source of their power. Most importantly, there was no sign of life in the black puppet's eyes. It was not a servant. Destroy. Lin Feng reacted very quickly. In an instant, 4 small world incarnations appeared and grabbed the 4 black puppets. With a boom, they were destroyed, but in an instant, another 8 black puppets appeared. Their numbers doubled once again. What's going on? Could it be that these aren't puppets? Lin Feng wondered. Although puppets weren't living beings, they still needed to be crafted. Especially powerful puppets. They needed to be crafted with precision and cost a lot of money. It was impossible for them to be sent over in batches to be killed by him like a suicide squad. Furthermore, there were so many of them that it was impossible to kill them all. Whoa! Terrifying noises came from the surroundings again, like the cries of a baby. In the next moment, the female, ghostly laughter sounded again, resonating with the cries, increasing the vibration effect by several times. Shua! Lin Feng's willpower was firm, and he wasn't moved at all. Illusions are both real and fake. Lin Feng's eyes were clear. With a deep shout, he broke through all illusions. 8 small world incarnations appeared, controlling the 8 black puppets and releasing their power. Boom! Bang! Boom! For Lin Feng, controlling 8 small world incarnations at the same time was already his limit. 16. Great Lich Ether's puppets were endless, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, and from 8 to 16. It was as if he was trying to make people fall into a deep illusion and doubt themselves. The careless laughter and cries were all baits, trying to pull people into a real illusion. It was both strength and tricks. Great Lich Ether was very cunning. Even if the puppets couldn't kill the opponent, they could still consume the opponent's strength. Puppeteers were best at hiding in the dark to plot against their opponents. They could use puppets, which were offensive treasures created over time, to consume the opponent's strength. Unfortunately, Great Lich Ether couldn't succeed this time. Lin Feng's power was almost intact. Again, Lin Feng was not in a hurry. At worst, he could use up all the energy in his Mountain Core World incarnation and return to elementary source. Controlling the puppets also required energy, but it was less than attacking. If this continued, Great Lich Ether would definitely be the first to collapse. Oh, Lin Feng had just killed 16 black puppets, and this time, 4 silver puppets appeared. Their huge bodies were like castles, and green moss fell on the silver puppets' bodies like clothes. Their silver eyes flashed, and they seemed to have intelligence. Perfect control. Lin Feng had some understanding of puppeteers. Although puppets were not alive, they could gain life through the puppeteer's bestowment and control. It was like the will of the insectoid commander. With the will of the puppeteer, not only could they control the puppets perfectly, but they could also unleash the puppet's power to the maximum. Let's see. Lin Feng did not care about these 4 silver puppets. Although they were huge, they did not have an advantage in speed. Moreover, there is a world of difference between dealing with 4 puppets and dealing with 16 puppets. Lin Feng's control over his miniature world had a limit. The 16 puppets he had just killed were not killed at the same time, but in 2 separate attacks. If Great Lich Ether's next attack had been 32 black puppets, Lin Feng would have had a headache. But now, it was only 4 silver puppets. Boom, 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 boom. The 4 miniature world incarnations unleashed their Hongming laws of destruction at the same time, displaying their innate power, comparable to rank 7 Hongming laws. It's useless, kid. Hee hee. Great Lich Ether blended into the darkness, watching the battle. As a puppeteer, the biggest taboo was to be discovered by the opponent and find a hiding place. Great Lich Ether would never appear in a battle that could be solved by puppets. They are silver ink giants that I made with the hardest metal in the Hongmeng Ocean, Qigong ink. Their defense is so strong that only a world master can destroy them. Great Lich Ether was very confident. Rumble. Lin Feng activated his miniature world incarnation again, and its power doubled. Continue to destroy, kid. Great Lich Ether could not help but sneer. The silver ink giant's attack power was limited, but their destructive power and defense were strong. However, with the puppets in front of them, the opponent would not dare to not destroy them. This was exactly what Great Lich Ether wanted. Energy consumption. The silver ink giants were difficult to destroy. Their attack power had to be at the level of a world master or an ultimate universe master. A mere human kid, impossible. Great Lich Ether's eyes widened, and he was shocked. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3106. 10th Destruction, 20th Destruction, 30th Destruction. The slow-moving silver ink giant simply couldn't escape the control of Lin Feng's world incarnation. The power of his attacks overlapped again and again, crushing the silver ink giant like a tsunami. Although the more layers of his small world incarnation he used, the slower his attacks would become. But now that he was facing a puppet, what harm was there in being a bit slower? Accumulating attack power was easy for Lin Feng. The first silver giant was destroyed, which meant that Great Lich Ether's attack was completely destroyed. In an instant, the second and third silver giants were also easily destroyed by Lin Feng. Swish! The fourth silver ink giant immediately disappeared. Can't bear to be destroyed? Lin Feng knew that Great Lich Ether had put away the silver puppet, and he couldn't help smiling. The challenge of the apotheosis space was real, including the black puppet from before. Now, the silver puppet was really destroyed. Damn you, kid. You'll regret this. Great Lich Ether's angry voice resounded in the enclosed space. Nana, Nana, Nana. A ferocious face appeared in the void, and a female, ghost-like laughter rang out again, causing one's hair to stand on end. Suddenly, a golden puppet appeared. Its golden eyes were full of wisdom, and it was fast with two swords in its hands. It was very similar. The golden puppet seemed to be Great Lich Ether. Oh! Just as Lin Feng was about to use his minor world incarnation, an immense amount of soul energy descended upon him. The malevolent face in the air was deeply imprinted in his mind. Lin Feng's heart trembled, as though it wanted to devour his soul. Soul attack. Defend. The golden power of Hong Meng surrounded him, and the golden soul of 100 times the universe protected him. His willpower covered his internal universe, and the great world avatar of Hong Meng's energy burst out, forming the strongest internal universe defense. Although Lin Feng couldn't use the soul attack now, it didn't mean his soul defense was weak. The golden willpower was comparable to that of a world master. The golden soul of 100 times the universe was also at the ultimate universe master level. The golden body of Hong Meng had endless energy. Nana, Kakik. However, Great Lich Ether's soul attack was very special. Not only was it infused with willpower attacks, but it was also infused with illusions. The attacks were all-pervasive, and the slightest flaw in one's defense would be broken through. Lin Feng could feel the support of Great Lich Ether's endless soul sea. That was where the super-universe soul was born. Aside from the immense soul energy, there was also a special power. What a powerful soul attack! This was the strongest soul attack Lin Feng had ever received. It completely ignored his internal universe and tore apart the suppression of his internal universe. This was very frightening. Generally speaking, regardless of how strong or weak a soul attack was, it would be restrained or even suppressed by one's internal universe. If the soul attack wasn't suppressed by the opponent's internal universe, its power would be unimaginable. Does it have any weaknesses? Yes. His soul attack can't break the soul defense treasure. Lin Feng had a soul defense treasure. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either. In this aspect, Lin Feng didn't waste too much energy because his soul defense was already very strong. Even though the Great Lich Ether's soul attack was terrifying, Lin Feng still managed to withstand it. In fact, he wasn't even injured. How is this possible? Great Lich Ether's face turned pale. He couldn't believe the Yuan Venerate human could actually withstand his soul mystic technique, which he had studied for eons, unscathed. His eyes flashed as he shouted, and the golden puppet's attack burst out instantly. Life Origin Puppet. This was Great Lich Ether's trump card. He had been able to roam the Hongmeng Sea unhindered for eons not only because of his soul attack, but also because of the Life Origin Puppet he had spent his entire life nurturing. He had used all sorts of strange metals in the Hongmeng Sea to create this Life Origin Puppet. This Life Origin Puppet was equivalent to Great Lich Ether. Once the Life Origin Puppet was destroyed, Great Lich Ether would be seriously injured even if he didn't die. This was a huge disadvantage, but the advantages of a Life Origin Puppet were also huge. Not only could it fight alongside a Puppet Master, but it also made up for the Puppet Master's weakness of lacking close-range attacks. A Puppet Master with a Life Origin Puppet could be considered a true top-notch Puppet Master. Chi! Chi! The golden puppet's twin swords broke through the great realm embodiment's defense. At the same time, the sinister ghost face in the void trembled like ripples in water. An illusory power appeared and made people feel as if they were in a dream. Illusion technique. Great Lich Ether's attainments in the Soul Dao were much deeper than Lin Feng's. As a top-notch puppet master, he clearly knew what was the best way to fight. The combination of illusion techniques and the life origin puppet was his trump card. He had never been at a disadvantage in countless battles. Unfortunately, he had encountered Lin Feng, who happened to restrain his ability. Snow Jade, second stage. This was the first time Lin Feng had used the ability of the Snow Jade Warblade. This was the result of decades of cultivation. A sharp white glow transformed into a snow-white Ning Qiong divine beast and tore the sharp claws apart. The transparent white glow covered the Warblade's power, which was the power of Hongmeng nomological laws. Qi, golden Hongmeng power curled up and was absorbed into the Snow Jade Warblade. The snow-white fur of the Ning Qiong divine beast changed color and emitted a golden glow, making it look even more mighty. 20 layers of annihilation. Lin Feng's power erupted instantly. Facing the golden puppet, Lin Feng didn't have to worry about the suppression of the universe in his body. It was the easiest for him. The golden light of the Snow Jade Warblade connected. The second stage of the Snow Jade Warblade made Lin Feng's attack power several times stronger than before. He didn't use the concept of the saber or the exquisiteness of the saber moves to win. He used the most fundamental power to suppress his opponent. Peng. Lin Feng faced the life origin puppet head-on. His overbearing attack made the golden puppet stagger back. Great Lich Ether, who was hiding in the dark, had an ugly expression. He took all the damage that the life origin puppet received. Damn it, the evil ghost screamed. Great Lich Ether used another soul attack to fight Lin Feng. The illusion technique that he was so proud of was useless in front of Lin Feng. The advantage of the life origin puppet was also gone. What Lin Feng was afraid of was the fact that a puppet's realm was stronger than his. What realm could a puppet have? 30 layers of annihilation. Lin Feng forcefully blocked the soul attack and killed the life origin puppet. He had to admit that Great Lich Ether soul attack was terrifying, especially when he was fighting for his life. It was like hundreds of millions of evil ghosts were dragging him into an endless hell. Boom! The golden light in the life origin puppet's eyes dissipated, falling heavily to the ground. It no longer had the strength to fight. There! Lin Feng's world incarnation had spread out, covering the entire enclosed space. Although Great Lich Ether had hidden himself well and blended in perfectly with the environment, the life origin puppet's death greatly damaged his vitality, causing his aura to change. Although it was only a split second, it was more than enough for an expert of Lin Feng's level. Great annihilation. The world incarnation shrank rapidly, suppressing Great Lich Ether. Lin Feng pushed his strength to the limit. The golden light of Xiantian 7th Order's Great Annihilation illuminated the sealed god space. Great Lich Ether killed. Chapter 30-107. 1. Taisher, Lonely Glory. 2. Tai, Elegant Gentleman. 3. Taichu, Lin Feng. 4. Taisu, Master of Creation. Lin Feng stepped out of the investiture of the god space, and Great Lich Ether's investiture of the gods ranking was immediately updated. Lin Feng smiled when he saw that he had once again squeezed into the top 3 after the Divine Supreme investiture of the gods. Not bad. He had originally thought that after spending so much time and effort, his ranking would be very low. He had not expected to squeeze into the top 3. The top and bottom of the rankings were all absolute beings of the 5 great realms, so the competition was fierce. The most difficult thing to do when fighting Great Lich Ether is to find his hiding place. The other thing is to resist his spirit shock. His puppets are just smoke bombs. Their offensive capabilities aren't strong. Lin Feng still remembered Great Lich Ether's spirit shock. The spirit shock, which ignored the defenses of one's internal universe and was accompanied by willpower and illusion attacks, was very powerful. Many Yuan Venerate geniuses had died under Great Lich Ether's attack. Rewards. Lin Feng touched Great Lich Ether's God Seal space, and 3 rewards appeared. On the left was a treasure option. It had to be a replica of a treasure that Great Lich Ether possessed. Half of it could be his Great Lich Staff, which is at least an almighty Hongmeng source item. It could even be an almighty Hongmeng source item. Lin Feng could not estimate the grade of the Great Lich Staff in Great Lich Ether's hands. After all, the final blow had killed Great Lich Ether directly. The other half could be his puppets, silver giants, or golden origin puppets. Lin Feng analyzed carefully. Regardless of which possibility it was, he basically had no use for it. However, exchanging it for Hongmeng source crystals was not cheap. He needed a lot of Hongmeng source crystals to strengthen himself. Lin Feng ignored the rewards in the middle. Generally, he would only choose to try his luck when he had no other choice. What really made Lin Feng feel conflicted was the reward on the right, cultivation reward. Great Lich Ether's mastery of the soul is extremely high. He's proficient in illusions, control, soul attacks, and puppetry. Lin Feng wasn't interested in puppetry at all, but the other aspects of the Great Lich Ether were what he needed, whether it was illusions or control abilities. In particular, the Soul Shock secret technique that he had created was what Lin Feng desired the most. If the Great Lich Ether didn't have the powerful Soul Shock, Lin Feng wouldn't hesitate to choose the left option. However, with the Soul Shock secret technique, the right option was much more important. The strengthening of Hongmeng's metal body isn't urgent right now. Even if I exchange for a Dominator Hongmeng source item, I estimate that it will only increase the Hongmeng's metal body's energy by about 10%. Hongmeng's golden body required a huge amount of energy. Even though the Dominator Hongmeng source item was the most powerful and most valuable treasure in the Hongmeng Sea, and many universe dominators couldn't even obtain one in their lifetime, the Hongmeng's metal body was at the level of a world lord. It was even more powerful than the Dominator Hongmeng source item. Also, I've accumulated a lot of treasures in the first 15 rounds. All of them should be enough to strengthen Hongmeng's metal body for a period of time. Hongmeng's origin crystals can be earned at any time. However, this is the only chance to obtain the Great Lich Ether's Soul Shock secret technique. Although Lin Feng was analyzing, his gaze was firmly fixed on the right option. In fact, even if the left option was the Dominator Hongmeng source item, Lin Feng would still choose the right option in the end. This was because the Soul Shock secret technique was too attractive. Even if the right option might be other secret techniques or cultivation techniques, Lin Feng also wanted to give it a try. This is it. Lin Feng touched the right option, and a whirlpool of light instantly enveloped it. Wow, he won. Senior Lin Feng won. He's too strong. How can Senior Lin Feng be so strong? That's Great Lich Ether, the ultimate ruler of the universe. How did he win? He really passed. Am I dreaming? How did Senior Lin Feng win this battle? Unbelievable. Rumor has it that Great Lich Ether's soul Dao is extremely high. To a certain extent, he's even stronger than the 17th divine general on the Yuan venerates investiture of the gods, Slaughter, the blood demon god. There's nothing to say. There's only one word to describe him. Awesome. Senior Lin Feng is worthy of being the hero of the Taichu. He once again suppressed the powerhouses of the other origin chaotic worlds and squeezed into the top 3. Third place. Third place on the Yuan venerates investiture of the gods, surpassing all the world masters. Hee. The Taichu was in an uproar. Lin Feng had won the battle against Great Lich Ether without any mishap and ascended to third place. This wasn't Huang Zun's investiture of the gods, or the ultimate venerates investiture of the gods. This was the most valuable Yuan venerates investiture of the gods. Almost all the top powerhouses of the Hongmeng Sea had participated in the Yuan venerates investiture of the gods. Lin Feng had used his own strength to prove to the entire Hongmeng Sea that he was a genuine top-notch powerhouse. What the other world masters could do, he could also do as a Yuan venerate. In fact, he could do it even better. The Taichu origin chaotic universe was full of joy and excitement. After all, the honor that Lin Feng had created represented the Taichu. It represented all the Taichu cultivators. The 5 great factions were also paying attention to Lin Feng's investiture of the Gods Challenge. Witnessing Lin Feng create a new Yuan venerates investiture of the gods with their own eyes made them feel even more conflicted. Every faction had a different feeling. Fortunately, we didn't help the Taichu Inquisition. Yes, Lin Feng was able to break through Great Lich Ether's hurdle. This was completely unexpected. That is an ultimate universe ruler. Even if Lin Feng used some tricks, his strength is unquestionable. Even if he isn't an ultimate universe ruler, he isn't too far off. Let's see how the Taichu Inquisition will fare this time. What else can they do? They can only swallow their grievances. The Pope of the Taichu Inquisition isn't around. Even if the Pope was around, he would have to think twice before dealing with Lin Feng at this juncture. Lin Feng is like the sun in the sky now. Anyone who dares to touch him will really lose their reputation. The Daoyin Palace, the Jiu Group, and the Sky Swamp Alliance remain neutral. They were happy for Lin Feng's achievements and also felt lucky that they hadn't lost their heads that day. If they had taken a wrong step that day, they would have regretted it now. For example, the Taichu Inquisition. Despicable. Scoundrel. The drunken Taichu Guardian Shrine roared from time to time. The smell of alcohol was strong. Outside, Feng Yi, Archie, and the Ice Dragon Order Master exchanged glances helplessly. Lin Feng was too strong. Sir Drunken was still thinking about how to deal with Lin Feng, but now. The Feng Yi Order Master shook his head. How to deal with him? He even defeated an ultimate universe ruler. What kind of strength is that? What kind of monster is that? The Order Master pinched his nose. Even if the three guardian deities join forces, they might not necessarily win. Unless Sir Pope makes a move. The three Order Masters looked at each other helplessly. They didn't know where Sir Pope had gone. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3108. Ether's Journal. Lin Feng sighed as he looked at the thick, gold-edged book in his hand. Although he didn't know what was recorded in this book, it clearly wasn't the spiritual shock mystic technique that he desired the most. If it was the spiritual shock mystic technique, all sorts of mystic techniques would have entered his mind the moment he clicked on the right reward option and absorbed it completely. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It's normal. Great Lich Ether has too many cultivation mystic techniques. Furthermore, he is a puppet master and puppetry techniques are his trademark. If I choose the right option, the probability of puppetry techniques appearing is at least 40%. In addition to illusions, cultivation techniques, control, and other aspects, the probability of spiritual shock mystic technique appearing is estimated to be about 10%. This journal should contain some of Great Lich Ether's cultivation insights. At least it's better than puppetry techniques. Lin Feng was also very calm. If it was his, then it was his. If it wasn't, then there was no need to be too conflicted. No matter what, Ether's journal was still better than puppetry techniques. Next, slaughter the blood demon god. Lin Feng hesitated slightly as he looked at the 17th Yuan Venerate Apotheosis space. The demon race's advantage lay in their strength and strong bodies. Slaughter the blood demon god was definitely good at this too. There was very little information on Great Lich Ether, and even less on Slaughter the blood demon god. There were only 6 apotheosis spaces, which was 3 fewer than Great Lich Ether's 9. This showed how strong Slaughter the blood demon god was. Lin Feng wasn't confident. Given his current strength, it would still be a little difficult for him to fight Slaughter the blood demon god. Although Lin Feng wasn't inferior to him, he couldn't deny that Lin Feng was stronger than him. At least, he was slightly stronger. There's no need to show off. I'll fight Slaughter the blood demon god and the red-faced immortal again. Lin Feng put away his reward and left the apotheosis space. He had just fought an intense battle with Great Lich Ether and had exhausted a lot of his power and mind. He needed time to recover. It wasn't appropriate to challenge them now. After all, he didn't have the power to crush them. Slaughter the blood demon god was the 17th divine general on the Yuan Venerate Apotheosis space, while the red-faced immortal was the 18th divine general. If he guessed correctly, both of them were ultimate universe masters, on par with Great Lich Ether. Although they were all ultimate universe masters, their abilities were not the same. Red-faced immortal was the strongest, but he only had 3 investiture gods, which was less than half of Slaughter Blood Devil god. Of course, the strongest was the 21st divine general on the Yuan Venerate's investiture of the gods. Myriad Bones Great Emperor. There was not a single name on the apotheosis ranking. Even the invincible emperor of the Hongmeng Sea, Gu Huang, was unable to leave his name on the investiture of the gods. I'll make a trip back to the origin realm and replenish the energy of my greater world clone. Lin Feng's great world incarnation had been continuously drained, as well as his own cultivation. Now, only half of the great world incarnation's energy remained. This was Lin Feng's greatest trump card. Naturally, he would be in peak combat condition at all times. It wouldn't take too much time to fill it up. Also, deal with the treasures obtained from the first 15 rounds and exchange them for Hongmeng source crystals to strengthen the Hongmeng gold body. Even if it was strengthened by 5%, it would still be an increase in strength. The next 4 rounds on the Yuan Venerate's investiture of the gods would be more difficult each time. The more strength he gained, the higher his chances of victory would be. There's also this Ether's Notes. I wonder what it contains. Lin Feng wanted to find some time to read it and see if he could comprehend it. Perhaps it would be of some help to him. After all, this was the reward for the 16th level of the Yuan Venerate's investiture of the gods, so it couldn't be too bad. Great Lich Ether cultivated the Spirit Tao, so there were many aspects that he could learn from. When Lin Feng returned to the Emperor Star domain, he handed the treasures over to the Sky-bearing Star Lord to deal with. As the Star Lord of the North Star, the Sky-bearing Star Lord had a wide network of connections and many means. Dealing with the treasures was naturally a lot easier than selling them by Lin Feng himself. Furthermore, the treasures could be sold for a good price. The Sky-bearing Star Lord was more than happy to be able to help Lin Feng. He had originally been the Star Lord of a small North Star in the Emperor Star domain. Now, he had become the universe master of the entire Taichu. Basically, all the Star Lords of various star domains had come to visit him. Because of who? The Sky-bearing Star Lord was well aware of this. Without Lin Feng, the North Star would still be obscure and would never have become one of the top planets in the Taichu. Countless young geniuses and newcomers had gathered there, and it was one of the planets that the 5 great factions paid the most attention to. This was all because of Lin Feng's existence. He had always wanted to flatter Lin Feng, but he had never been able to do so. It was rare for Lin Feng to take the initiative to ask him for help. The Sky-bearing Star Lord could even wake up smiling in his dreams. The better his relationship with Lin Feng, the higher his status and authority in the Taichu would be. Ether's Notes. While the treasures were still being exchanged and the Hongmeng origin crystals were still not in his hands, Lin Feng began to study the reward he had received from Great Lich Ether. The stronger the Divine General, the better the reward. Although there was a lot of luck involved, the lower limit was generally there, and it was not that bad. Gently opening the book, Lin Feng could feel his soul trembling slightly, as if he had established some kind of connection with the book. Lin Feng didn't need to look at it. His soul penetrated into the book, and his entire person entered the book. Words and pictures appeared before his eyes one after another. Rays of light and streams of light streaked across in front of him. That was the touch of the mind and the communication of the soul. Comprehending the strange book of Great Lich Ether, Lin Feng seemed to understand some of Great Lich Ether's feelings and thoughts when he was cultivating. His soul was a path. It was very deep and profound. The cultivation records were fragmented, but they were pieced together like fragments. Lin Feng savored them deeply. It had to be said that Great Lich Ether's attainments in the Tao of the Soul were quite high. After billions of years of accumulation, there were many parts that were the essence of the essence, which could help him avoid many detours. Completely immersed in cultivation, for Lin Feng, this was a rare enlightenment. The first enlightenment was definitely the most rewarding. This lasted for 3 whole eras. Oh, Lin Feng slowly came back to his senses. His eyes flashed, and his face was filled with an indescribable smile. Looking at the Ether's Notes in his hand, Lin Feng was very satisfied. This time, the effect of the meditation was too great. If I had to comprehend this by myself, even 3,000 eras or 30,000 eras wouldn't be enough. They were all universe rulers, so their comprehension abilities were naturally not bad. This was especially true for Great Lich Ether, who specialized in the Tao of the Soul. He had walked down this path much deeper than Lin Feng. Misfortune may be a blessing in disguise. It's a pity that I missed out on the soul shock secret technique, but this is 100 times better. With this, I can definitely create my own soul shock secret technique. Lin Feng smiled slightly. 3 years of meditation was equivalent to 30,000 eras of immersing himself in the Tao of the Soul. Bookhouse Reading Website. Chapter 30-109. Compared to blade techniques, Lin Feng's attainment in soul attacks was higher. The seventh heaven of fallen stars that he had created was a pinnacle secret technique. In the entire absolute beginning era, there were very few supremacies who could create a soul attack secret technique that was stronger than his. Above that would be the ultimate secret techniques. Although Heaven Path secret techniques and Hongmeng secret techniques were of different levels, some of the realms and comprehensions in the creation of secret techniques were traceable. A cultivator could create a pinnacle secret technique when he was a knight. When he was a great being, as long as he studied it carefully, the Hongmeng secret technique he created wouldn't be too weak. Basically, he could create a Dominator-level Hongmeng secret technique. Great Lich Ether's soul attack is based on the comprehension recorded in the Ether Journal. It should be the Hongmeng secret technique, Energy Breaker. No wonder it's so powerful. Lin Feng sighed. Hongmeng secret techniques were divided into two levels. Great Being Hongmeng secret techniques and Dominator-level Hongmeng secret techniques. Great Being Hongmeng secret techniques were divided into beginner, elementary, intermediate, advanced, and top-tier Hongmeng secret techniques. Dominator-level Hongmeng secret techniques were divided into 4 levels: Energy Breaker, True Pureness, Legendary, and Source. An ordinary Great Being's Hongmeng secret technique was comparable to a 4th-tier complete Hongmeng Law. That was an advanced Hongmeng secret technique. An ordinary Universe Dominator's Hongmeng secret technique was comparable to a 6th-tier complete Hongmeng Law. That was the Energy Breaker Hongmeng secret technique. At first glance, the Energy Breaker Hongmeng secret technique wasn't strong. Its power was only comparable to a 6th-tier complete Hongmeng Law. But that was according to the standard when an ordinary Universe Dominator used it. What if a top-tier Universe Dominator used it? What if a pinnacle Universe Dominator used it? For example, if an ordinary person performed a set of excellent saber techniques, the power would be good. If a saber artist performed this set of excellent saber techniques, the power would be very strong. If a saber grandmaster performed this set of excellent saber techniques, the power would be even more earth-shattering. Great Lich Ether is an ultimate Universe Dominator. He has an ultimate super universe soul. Even if it's just a Great Being Hongmeng secret technique, he can still unleash great power, not to mention the Energy Breaker Hongmeng secret technique, which has reached the Dominator level. In terms of the creation of secret techniques, a secret technique at the Venerable level is at the Sovereign level. Since I was able to create a pinnacle secret technique, my attainments in secret techniques should have reached the basic requirements to create a Sovereign's primordial secret technique. And now that I've comprehended the 6th and 7th level primordial laws to complete completion, I've formed a primordial golden body in the primordial Tao. My level of cultivation is comparable to that of a universe master. Lin Feng's goal was very clear: create a soul attack secret technique. He had fought with Great Lich Ether at close range and suffered several soul attacks. Now that he was cultivating and comprehending the Ether Journal, Lin Feng was confident that he could integrate his scattered comprehensions and create a brand new soul attack secret technique. Maybe it wouldn't reach the Dominator level, but it was a soul attack secret technique that he created, and it was most suitable for him. Not only could it perfectly unleash the power of his soul, but could also reach the innate level of power in Hongmeng laws. It's too ambitious to create a Hongmeng Dominator secret technique. I'll set my goal as a top-tier Hongmeng secret technique. Lin Feng already had some inspiration. He was very confident in creating a top-grade primordial secret art. The Ether Journal had not only improved his soul attainments, but it had also broadened his horizons. The various aspects of soul cultivation had been deeply imprinted into his heart. It was comparable to comprehending 30,000 eras on his own. The foundation was very important. Lin Feng didn't have a teacher to guide him, so he lacked a foundation, especially in terms of realm and knowledge. His cultivation in the Tao of Confusion was forcefully pushed up, but it was very difficult to increase his realm and comprehend the Hongmeng laws in the Tao of Hongmeng. The destruction and great destruction Hongmeng laws he comprehended were mostly due to his Mountain Core World avatar. However, Lin Feng knew how to play to his strengths and avoid his weaknesses. He had avoided his weaknesses very well. However, this was still a barrier that had shackled Lin Feng's cultivation. Right now, the comprehension of the Ether's journal could be said to be the entirety of Great Lich Ether's attainments in the path of the soul. As the universe master of the primordial ocean's top-notch soul path, Great Lich Ether possessed a super-universe soul and an endless soul ocean. Since he was able to reach this level, his soul path was naturally flawless. He strived for perfection in every aspect, and his foundation couldn't be more solid. One was a complete steel plate, and the other was a wooden board with many small holes. Now, all the small holes on Lin Feng's wooden board were filled. Great Lich Ether has a super-universe soul, which is more than 100 times stronger than my golden universe soul. But now, my golden universe soul is at the limit of 100 times, so it's not much weaker than his. Plus, I have a Hongmeng golden body, so my energy is much stronger. Overall, excluding the internal universe, the strength of my soul attack should be about the same as his. How strong would his soul attack be if he had the same power as Great Lich Ether? Lin Feng's close combat ability was already very strong, and with the addition of Soul Shock, it wasn't just icing on the cake. It was also a huge transformation. His offensive ability had reached a new level, and he was even more effective against universe masters whose soul defense was weak. Even if the opponent's soul defense wasn't weak, he could weaken the opponent's strength in battle and even catch them off guard. I'll start from the basics to the basics. Lin Feng didn't plan to create a Dominator-level Hongmeng secret technique right away. The Ether Journal had a complete foundation of soul attack secret techniques. Great Lich Ether was a soul attack secret technique that could be cultivated step by step. Lin Feng also planned to take it step by step. It would be worth it even if he had to spend a little more time. Only by building a solid foundation could he become stronger in the future. In any case, Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry. It's been dozens of years. Why hasn't Senior Lin Feng attempted the Yuan Venerate Seal of the Gods? Yes, I've been waiting for so long. I originally planned to explore the Mystic Realm, but didn't go because I didn't want to miss Senior Lin Feng's attempt at the Yuan Venerate Seal of the Gods. I've lost so many Hongmeng origin crystals for nothing. Don't mention it. I planned to go into seclusion a long time ago, but I still haven't gone into seclusion after waiting for almost 30 years. Don't rush him. Senior Lin Feng will naturally attempt it if he wants to. He might have been delayed by something, or he might have gained some insights from the battle with Great Lich Ether, or he might want to improve his strength a little. After all, killing the Blood Demon Gods is much better than killing Great Lich Ether. Sigh. We all know the reason, but we can't wait any longer. We want to see Senior Lin Feng slaughter everyone on the Yuan Venerate Seal of the Gods and shock the Hongmeng Sea. He'll bring honor to our Taichu. That's right. Now, the other 4 primal chaotic universes are also talking about Senior Lin Feng. How powerful he is. Just hearing about it makes me feel good. Who among the younger generation can compare to Senior Lin Feng? In the near future, our Taichu will be like the Great Change Origin Chaotic Universe and have 2 absolute world masters. That goes without saying. It's a must. Mobile version update website. Chapter 3110. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry, but the Taichu cultivators were. Normally, when one challenged the investiture of the gods, they would challenge the investiture of the gods continuously until they failed. However, Lin Feng was stuck at that point. After defeating Great Lich Ether, he didn't take advantage of his victory and suddenly disappeared without a trace. This made the absolute beginning cultivators itch. They couldn't wait, but they also couldn't wait. A Yuan Venerate like Senior Lin Feng's investiture of the gods might not appear even once in a trillion years. Before Senior Lin Feng, only the invincible emperor of the Hongmeng Sea, Gu Huang, had been able to sweep through the investiture of the gods. Although the 5 great absolute beings were also outstanding, they still couldn't compare to Lin Feng at the moment. Lin Feng had squeezed into the top 3 of Great Lich Ether's investiture of the gods. All the cultivators were looking forward to Lin Feng breaking through another round and squeezing out the second-ranked elegant gentleman, Primal Chaos Dao Lord, to bring glory to the Taichu. Have you heard? Senior Lin Feng was attacked. Damn, is this for real? Who did it? How dare they sneak attack Senior Lin Feng? It's the Taichu Inquisition. It said that the drunken guardian deity led a group of order enforcers directly into the Emperor Star domain and fought with Lin Feng on the Emperor Star. Your news is too slow. Who on the Emperor Star doesn't know about this? The battle back then was earth-shattering. Many buildings in the Lin Mansion were destroyed. No wonder Senior Lin Feng didn't challenge the investiture of the gods. So this happened. After all, it's one of the 5 great factions. Senior Lin Feng is alone and has no backing. No matter how strong he is, it's easier to block an open spear than an arrow in the dark. Damn Taichu Divine Inquisition. How despicable and shameless. Heh, the Taichu Inquisition is high and mighty. They claim to be the protectors of the will of the heavens and cannot tolerate even a grain of sand in their eyes. Senior Lin Feng's name has shaken the Hongmeng Sea, and he has touched upon their interests. How shameless. Damn Taichu Inquisition. I've long disliked them. They think too highly of themselves. Pooh. The news spread like wildfire. The reputation of the Taichu Divine Inquisition plummeted in an instant, and all the cultivators rebuked them angrily. However, the Taichu Inquisition could not refute that. They had indeed done such a thing, but the timing was a little off. But what did they say? There was no way to explain it. Even if there was an explanation, it would be useless. The other 4 superpowers didn't speak up for absolute beginning Divine Inquisition either. In fact, many of the 4 superpowers' upper echelons had tacitly agreed with absolute beginning Divine Inquisition's claims. The evidence against absolute beginning Divine Inquisition was conclusive. What the super factions valued the most was their reputation. Once their reputation was ruined, their foundation would be shaken. The consequences would be unimaginable. How did this happen? We are in big trouble now. The Wind Beacon Order Master was panicking. Too ruthless. Archie, the Order Enforcer, furrowed his brows and gritted his teeth. Lin Feng's method of removing the firewood from under the cauldron is too ruthless. We've underestimated him too much. Not only is this brat strong, his methods are also very good. The Ice Dragon Order Master sighed and shook his head. Unfortunately, we really did do that. The Wind Beacon Order Master said. Sir Drunken Wine captured him before Lin Feng challenged the Yuan Venerate investiture of the gods. If they knew that Lin Feng could even defeat Great Lich Ether, who would provoke him? The 3 Order Masters looked troubled as they sighed. They were powerless to defend themselves. Previously, Lin Feng had defeated Huang Zun and the ultimate god investiture of the gods, causing his reputation to soar. He was worshipped like a hero in the Taichu. After waiting for his popularity to die down a little, he had defeated 16 divine generals on the Yuan Venerate investiture of the gods. If they had known that Lin Feng was going to do this, they would have stopped Sir Drunken Wine from taking action. It was easy to lose one's reputation, but it was difficult to regain it. Boom! Rumble! The Guardian Temple shook continuously, as if a broken jar had been smashed. The 3 Order maintainers looked over and knew what was going on. Ever since he had been defeated by Lin Feng, Sir Drunken Wine's emotions had been very unstable. Especially after knowing that Lin Feng had defeated Great Lich Ether, it was even harder to control him. They knew this feeling very well. They clearly knew that this enemy had to be defeated and this hatred had to be avenged, but there was nothing they could do. In addition, they had been tricked by Lin Feng this time. They had gone for wool and come home shorn. Sir Drunken Wine was probably really drunk now. Emperor Star Domain, Emperor Star. Second brother, this move of yours is too vicious, Yuan said, but his eyes glinted as he gave a thumbs up. Of course. Sherwanli chewed on the braised dragon leg leisurely, his mouth full of oil. They thought that they could just leave after failing to plot against Big Brother. They are too young and naive. Oomph. The Taichu Inquisition should be in a terrible fix right now, Yuan said with a smile. Second brother, you really helped Big Brother vent his anger this time. Yuan Venerate One Yuan smiled bitterly. Aren't you afraid that the Taichu Inquisition will fly into a rage out of humiliation and come knocking on our door? Since our reputation is already ruined, we might as well go all the way. Sherwanli laughed and sneered. If they wanted to deal with Big Brother, they would have come a long time ago. They have been waiting for dozens of epochs without any news. They have long become cowards. It's not that they don't want to come, it's just that they don't have the ability. Furthermore, Big Brother is also afraid that they will play some tricks in the dark. If they really fly into a rage out of humiliation and come knocking on our door, we will just have another fight. The three of us have never been afraid. We have never been afraid. Yuan clenched his fists and said proudly. Ha! Yuan Venerate One Yuan smacked Yuan on the head and scolded him jokingly. What are you doing? With your strength, what else can you do apart from being a burden? Yuan rubbed his nose and mumbled, if Big Brother hadn't prevented me from breaking through, I would have become an almighty long ago. Sherwanli looked at Yuan. Big Brother is doing this for your own good. Third brother, you need to accumulate more experience as a Yuan Venerate. Your foundation is still shallow, and you are very weak in all aspects. There are only disadvantages to breaking through now. The more experience you accumulate as a Yuan Venerate, the greater your chances of becoming a ruler of the universe in the future. Furthermore, Sherwanli sighed softly. He had been in too much of a hurry to become an almighty, which had led to the shackles of his current cultivation. The transformation of his Hongming body into a Hongming golden body was still far in the future. If he had been willing to settle down and accumulate more experience for hundreds or thousands of epochs, he might have been in a completely different state now. The path of cultivation wasn't just about being fast. I wonder how Big Brother is doing now? Looking into the distance, 100,000 miles was curious as well. In his memories, his big brother Lin Feng rarely went into seclusion for such a long time. That was because his big brother's comprehension ability was very high, and his cultivation speed was also very fast. If he had gone into seclusion for such a long time, he would have either encountered big trouble, entered a deep level of enlightenment, or this was a huge breakthrough in strength. Mobile version update website, M.